Chapter 285. Haha-Wu, Shokuhu Misaki's eyes were filled with tears. Under the effect of her starry eyes, the twinkling stars in her golden pupils looked like they grew in water, giving people a magical feeling. At this time, Shokuhu Misaki was like a crying girl. Her eyes were filled with tears and her mouth was making whimpering sounds. People who don't know what's going on would think that Shokuhu Misaki is crying. Her two tongues intertwined. Her moist lips couldn't stop the moans that came out of her mouth. Her sensitive body made her look like a helpless little girl. As long as someone blows on her, big drops of tears would fall from her starry eyes. After a long time, two pairs of lips finally separated under Wu Yan's slight force. A soft pop sound was heard, making Shokuhu Misaki's already red face even redder. The shy Shokuhu Misaki didn't know how attractive she was. Wu Yan's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What's more, Shokuhu Misaki was still naked. Ah, a soft cry came out of Shokuhu Misaki's mouth. That's because Wu Yan's hands had already split into two, one above and one below, grabbing her mounds and started to knead them. Ah, Wu-en, a sensitive spot is a sensitive spot. Under his teasing, Shokuhu Misaki surrendered without hesitation. She raised her head and moaned in a mixture of pain and pleasure. Her moaning made Wu Yan's heart burn with lust. He couldn't wait to take advantage of Jusama right there and then. Gently caressing Shokuhu Misaki's thigh, Wu Yan felt that it wasn't time yet. He could only suppress the lust in his heart and continue to tease Shokuhu Misaki's sensitive body. For some reason, this sensitive body didn't last long, making Wu Yan feel suffocated. At the same time, the power that was supporting Shokuhu Misaki all this time seemed to have disappeared. Shokuhu Misaki's hands seemed to have lost their bones. They drooped down softly, all the power was removed. Only her lips were left, as if they were supported by another power. They were constantly moving, gasping for breath, moaning, begging for mercy. They were all coming out from those lips. It seems that the kiss from before has caused Shokuhu Misaki to lose a lot of her power. Hugging Shokuhu Misaki's delicate body, Wu Yan could clearly feel the unique softness of the girl in his arms. Smooth, soft, almost all of it was applied to Wu Yan's naked body. Their bodies were almost overlapping, allowing Wu Yan to feel every inch of Shokuhu Misaki's skin. Really, no matter where it is, it's soft. It's a kind of limitless softness, without layers, without limits. It's a softness that embraces everything. What are you doing? Feeling Wu Yan's body and his heartbeat that is several times stronger than her own, Shokuhu Misaki pulled Wu Yan's hand uneasily. She squeezed out a few words from her mouth and said to Wu Yan. It's clear that Shokuhu Misaki hasn't completely let go of her emotions. Some things don't need to be said out loud. At times like this, both sides can sense each other's emotions. Just like how Wu Yan can sense Shokuhu Misaki's uneasiness, Shokuhu Misaki can also sense what Wu Yan wants to do. It's natural for Shokuhu Misaki to feel uneasy. Everything happened too fast. Just like the first time she had intimate contact with Wu Yan, it's so fast that Shokuhu Misaki couldn't catch her breath. How could she have imagined that she was just taking a shower like normal, but the result was that she was covered in sheets by this person who just barged into her life not long ago. Shokuhu Misaki also didn't expect Wu Yan to have already planned to push her down. Clearly, she has only known him for less than 3 months, plus, the time they met was only a few times. That's why everything in this world is so strange. Of course, it's about doing this and that with Jusama. At this time, one of Wu Yan's hands is still on Shokuhu Misaki's soft buttocks. The other hand is still on Shokuhu Misaki's plump soft flesh, maintaining the position of moving his hands up and down. Wu Yan smiled evilly at Shokuhu Misaki. Wu Yan can feel that after he said those words, Shokuhu Misaki's soft breasts that are different from her buttocks, a violent thump. Thump. Heartbeat. Without a doubt, Shokuhu Misaki is panicking. Wait. Shokuhu Misaki shook her head in a fluster. Her face was still flushed red. It made Wu Yan feel suffocated. Isn't this too fast, Jusama? Wu Yan's hand touched Shokuhu Misaki's warm breasts, gently squeezing them. Her warm body quivered and quieted down. Some things can't be measured with time, although Wu Yan's words, from a certain point of view, are correct and philosophical, but when he said it at this time, it gave Shokuhu Misaki a feeling, trap. It's too much of a trap. At this time, Wu Yan is still holding Shokuhu Misaki's breasts, one on top and one on bottom. He lifted Shokuhu Misaki's body from the bed and straddled her on top of him. For some reason, Wu Yan likes this position. Shokuhu Misaki, under Wu Yan's guidance, sat on top of Wu Yan. She could feel Wu Yan's evil intentions. She felt something hard pressing against her buttocks. Shokuhu Misaki panicked. Wait! She grabbed onto Wu Yan's shoulders tightly. She screamed in panic. But as she screamed, her voluptuous body was pressed down by Wu Yan, Yua. Shokuhu Misaki could feel something inside her body, followed by the shattering of something else inside her body, followed by a sharp pain. She couldn't help but feel a sharp pain in her chest. She couldn't help but feel a sharp pain in her chest. Shokuhu Misaki couldn't help but sigh. Like a swan that was shot by a hunter's arrow, Shokuhu Misaki fiercely raised her head and let out a miserable cry. The cry echoed throughout the room, showing the pain of its owner. You, such intense pain. Shokuhu Misaki, who has never suffered any physical trauma, broke down her tears. Big drops of tears flowed out from her eyes and dripped onto Wu Yan's body. It hurts, you evil bastard, you made me hurt, you. Her hands gripped onto Wu Yan's shoulders so hard that they turned blue, but Shokuhu Misaki still felt that this is not enough to vent her pain, so she complained to Wu Yan, who took everything away from her. At this moment, she also has the right to complain. All right, don't cry, Wu Yan coaxed Shokuhu Misaki like he's coaxing a child. Such a clumsy method, but at this moment, it's surprisingly effective. It made Shokuhu Misaki feel a lot better, and her tears also lessened a lot. After the pain subsided, a strong sense of emptiness spread throughout Shokuhu Misaki's body, causing her to involuntarily twist her body. Receiving Shokuhu Misaki's signal, Wu Yan simply shrugged, causing Shokuhu Misaki to let out another cry, but this time, it's mostly happiness. Finally, he can fully enjoy the beauty. Wu Yan hugged Shokuhu Misaki's voluptuous body and began to toss her up and down, enjoying the wonderful pleasure that comes from both body and mind. Moaning sounds could be heard. Chapter 286. In Tokuwadai's dormitory, none of the ladies knew that their most respected and worshipped Shokuhu Xianxia, Queen Shokuhu Xianxia, had been devoured by the scum they hated the most while they were happily discussing some skincare products and some pretty clothes. Not even a single bone was left behind. Inside Shokuhu Misaki's dorm room, the fierce battle is still going on. The world outside the door is completely isolated from the world inside. At this point, Shokuhu Misaki was lying on her bed, her hands tightly gripping the sheets in front of her. Her face was flushed with the most joyous of moods, and the sounds of moaning were coming from her lips. Her body kept swaying back and forth, and with each swing, Shokuhu Misaki let out a heavy moan. As a result, a certain wolf, who was grabbing Shokuhu Misaki's waist and kneeling behind her, moved even faster. Shokuhu Misaki is like a small boat in the middle of a storm, following the source of the storm behind her. It's like she's about to crash, dancing with the wind. Even she doesn't know when she'll fall. What Shokuhu Misaki didn't know was that the expression on her face that was enough to suffocate a certain someone, or the desire that was enough to kill a certain someone's heart, were all factors that led to her being subjected to an even more violent storm. Her curvaceous body was covered in a faint pink glow. Drops of sweat were secreted from her pores and formed on her body. Every time a bead of sweat appeared, it would be accompanied by a suspicious but pleasant fragrance from Shokuhu Misaki's body, making the two who were in the midst of the greatest pleasure feel a burst of desire. The sweat dripped down Shokuhu Misaki's body in a beautiful arc and dripped onto the white sheets as if it had completed its mission in life. Because of this, the sheets under Shokuhu Misaki's body were soaked as if they were fished out of water. However, this humidity didn't make Shokuhu Misaki or Wu Yan feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, they felt that this wasn't enough. Thus, this is another factor that made Wu Yan push the cart as hard as he could. One by one, these factors led to the current situation. Wu Yan was like a drilling machine, and Shokuhu Misaki's body was shaking violently, along with the waves of moans that would make a saint go crazy. At some point, Shokuhu Misaki's body suddenly tensed up. She grabbed the bed sheet with both hands, and at the same time, her toes curled up. An inexplicable sense of pleasure came from inside her body. Shokuhu Misaki didn't know what this is, but she got flustered. She turned around and looked at Wu Yan with a flushed face. She yelled out in a flirtatious manner. Wait. Wait. Wu Yan held his breath. Shokuhu Misaki didn't know how much of an effect she had on him with such a seductive expression. Her face flushed red, and her eyes filled with lust. Gasping for air, Wu Yan didn't stop like Shokuhu Misaki expected him to. Instead, he increased his speed and charged at Shokuhu Misaki. The powerful impact caused Shokuhu Misaki to cry out in pain. She felt something was about to break out of her body as Wu Yan pushed harder. She raised her head and screamed. You! If someone passed by at this time, it's impossible that they didn't notice anything. At the same time, Wu Yan also let out a satisfied breath. His face was like a spring breeze, as if something that made him uncomfortable has been released from his body. It's comfortable, comfortable, you. You. Shokuhu Misaki's body began to twitch, and she let out a small whimper, which would make anyone who heard it feel their blood boil. It's a shame that the only audience in the room had already extinguished the fire in his heart after hearing Shokuhu Misaki's loud cry. Of course, it's only at the right time. If it was any later, the fire would have started burning again. After a long while, Wu Yan finally smiled and laid down on the bed. Shokuhu Misaki also fell heavily on the bed. Her eyes were blurred, her breasts were moving up and down as she breathed. Shokuhu Misaki tried her best to open her starry eyes and look at Wu Yan's face. When she saw the proud smile on Wu Yan's face, Shokuhu Misaki's flushed face was filled with anger. She pinched Wu Yan's waist hard. Of course, Shokuhu Misaki's so-called heavy is just her own opinion. Her stamina has long been depleted in that battle of attrition. Tell me. Did you calculate everything? Shokuhu Misaki's thoughts aren't without reason. Of all the times to come to her, he chose to come to her when she's taking a bath. Isn't this intentional? Too bad, Shokuhu Misaki doesn't know that in this world, there's a guy called the pickup hand. Every time he opens the door, it's intentional, because at that time, there's always one or two girls taking a bath. With Shokuhu Misaki's strength, she can't even hurt a strand of hair, but Wu Yan still pretended to be in pain. He cried out, I'm innocent. This is really a coincidence. As if I'd believe you. Shokuhu Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yan when she regained some of her strength. However, when she thought about how Wu Yan had tried all sorts of tricks on her, Shokuhu Misaki couldn't help but feel annoyed. Since when did I, Shokuhu Misaki, become someone who can be manipulated by others? Perhaps because of the past, Shokuhu Misaki hated the feeling of being manipulated, even if it was in bed. So, Shokuhu Misaki made a quick decision. She flipped her body, and under Wu Yan's stunned expression, Shokuhu Misaki rode on top of Wu Yan's body. Seeing Wu Yan's stunned expression, Shokuhu Misaki giggled. You tricked me just now. This time, it's my turn. Wu Yan stuttered as if he was scared out of his wits. Jisama, Shokuhu Misaki glared at Wu Yan. She rudely interrupted. What are you doing? Do you have a problem with that? Wu Yan was stunned. After a while, he managed to squeeze out a sentence. Do you still have strength? Shokuhu Misaki's face turned red. She shouted angrily, it's none of your business. You're the one who benefits in the end anyway. Why are you talking so much? And so, Wu Yan shut his mouth. He couldn't help but feel a strange desire in his heart. Maybe it's not a bad idea to take the queen by force. Shokuhu Misaki gritted her teeth. Her body trembled. She suppressed the shyness in her heart and slowly sat down in Wu Yan's arms. When the two were tightly connected again, Wu Yan let out a satisfied sigh, while Shokuhu Misaki let out a soft moan. Then, using his half-baked skill of mind control to peek into other people's minds, he slowly began to use it, looking at the pair of throbbing breasts in front of him, listening to the soft moans in his ears, and feeling the comfort of his body. Wu Yan closed his eyes and focused on enjoying himself. The moans never stopped. Chapter 287. Shokuhu Misaki is under a lot of pressure, especially at a time like this. As an offensive queen, Shokuhu Misaki's wish to become an offensive queen may sound good, but reality is cruel. if Shokuhu Misaki were to use her mind control to turn a woman into a super attacker, it would be a piece of cake. But when it comes to herself, even if she could change her personality with her ability, it would still be very stressful for her to do so. After all, our Jusama is a sports idiot, stamina. That's her weakness, thus, her Lady Queen became a true 3 minutes god. After 3 minutes, her Lady Queen changed from a strong aggressor to a strong aggressor. As for this so-called aggressor, it was all in the mouth. Shokuhu Misaki is under a lot of pressure, but at the same time, she should be thankful that she's not a man. It was another storm. After that, the two lay back down on the bed, panting softly with their eyes closed, enjoying the aftershocks of their lovemaking. The sheets on his back couldn't get any wetter. At this time, the person lying on it should feel uncomfortable, but for some reason, Wu Yan didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he felt comfortable, like he's in a hot spring. As for Jusama, lying on top of Wu Yan, how can a bed sheet be more comfortable than a meat cushion? Stroking Shokuhu Misaki's smooth back, Wu Yan had to admit that Jusama's body is pretty damn good. Even if she doesn't have that pair of boobs, Jusama's voluptuous curves alone is enough to make anyone fall head over heels for her. Shokuhu Misaki didn't know what Wu Yan is thinking about. But, judging by the fact that something inside her that hasn't left her body is back in high spirits, Shokuhu Misaki can guess what's going on. Shokuhu Misaki quickly said to Wu Yan, "Don't do it again, I can't take it anymore." Hearing this, Wu Yan's hand paused. He had no choice but to stop. With Jusama's physique, it's a miracle that she can last this long. Seeing this, Shokuhu Misaki couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then, she was secretly annoyed, and at the same time, she sighed helplessly. She seems to have been begging for mercy, and this time too, as an offensive queen, Shokuhu Misaki is under a lot of pressure. Whenever she thinks about how she's begging for mercy, Shokuhu Misaki can't help but feel anger rising from the bottom of her heart. She's not going to be nice to the guy who forced himself on her. Shokuhu Misaki's starry eyes were filled with dissatisfaction as she said in a slightly annoyed tone, "All right, now that you've taken advantage of me and eaten me, it's time for you to tell me why you're here." Wu Yan dryly chuckled. What can he do? He really did have a reason for coming here. Pushing her down is just something he can do along the way. With Shokuhu Misaki's intelligence, his little scheme can't be hidden from her. It's too fake to say that he's here just to see her. With that in mind, Wu Yan quickly said, "Of course I'm here just to see you." Fake. It's too fake. Shokuhu Misaki doesn't doubt his words, even Wu Yan has to say the same thing. Even if he knows that his words are fake, it can't be helped. He just pushed her down not too long ago. If he really said that he's here for something, it'd be too boring. So even if it's fake, Wu Yan can only accept it. Shokuhu Misaki's eyes seemed to be able to see through Wu Yan's heart. She carefully stared at Wu Yan's face. Perhaps she guessed Wu Yan's thoughts. Shokuhu Misaki coldly snorted. However, from her expression, it seems like she's satisfied with Wu Yan's words, or rather, his thoughts. Of course, Shokuhu Misaki won't admit it. She's still upset about the fact that she couldn't push Wu Yan down. Don't talk nonsense. Just say it. Since you're here, you must have something you need my help with, right? This time, Wu Yan can only rub his nose and admit it. Alright, I do have something I need your help with, sure. Shokuhu Misaki's straightforward answer came just as he finished his sentence. Wu Yan, who originally wanted to waste his breath, was stunned. Wu Yan didn't forget how much effort it took to get Shokuhu Misaki's help when he snuck into the research facility where the sisters were kept. Not only did he have to make her a random date, but he was also ridiculed by Jusama, and this time, she agreed so easily. Could it be that, pushing her down will bring me such benefits? Wu Yan quickly shook his head and denied it. If Jusama is the type of person who listens to everything after being pushed down, then she's not Jusama. Wu Yan's wine-red eyes stared straight into Shokuhu Misaki's starry eyes. He narrowed his eyes, trying to see through Shokuhu Misaki's schemes. I say, Jusama, when did you become so straightforward? How can you say that? Shokuhu Misaki touched her cheeks and said in a pitiful tone, you've already done this to me, what else can I do other than listen to you? It would have been better if Shokuhu Misaki didn't say anything. Now that she did, Wu Yan became even more vigilant. If what he said was fake, then Shokuhu Misaki's expression couldn't be more fake. As if she didn't see Wu Yan's vigilance, Shokuhu Misaki looked at him with a playful smile. Wu Yan's mouth twitched, he couldn't stay calm anymore. I say, where did this pitiful sobbing go to? As the saying goes, a woman can change her mind as quickly as flipping a page. Shokuhu Misaki's pitiful face turned into a playful smile, and in the next second, it turned into impatience. Are you going to tell me or not? If not, I won't help you. Wu Yan, who couldn't see through Shokuhu Misaki's thoughts, turned his face away and shrugged helplessly. Whatever, she's already his woman. Putting away his mischievous grin, Wu Yan put on a serious face. His expression gave off a serious vibe. I want you to help me take a look at a child. Take a look at a child? Shokuhu Misaki had an odd expression on her face. Her eyes started flickering as she looked into Wu Yan's eyes. She continued with a weird tone. We just had sex and you want me to take care of a child? Wu Yan almost spat out a mouthful of saliva when he heard that. What are you thinking? I want you to take a look at a child's psychological condition. Psychological condition? This time, Shokuhu Misaki didn't tease him. She frowned and said softly, the child you're talking about, does he have some psychological problems? Yeah. Wu Yan said helplessly, his mental condition is very unstable. In the past, he would go berserk from time to time. Although I've managed to suppress it, my method can only treat the symptoms, not the root cause. It can only prevent the child from going berserk, but it can't solve the problem. Wu Yan looked at Shokuhu Misaki. That's why I want you to take a look at him, see if there's any way to make him normal. Go berserk. Shokuhu Misaki didn't care about the method Wu Yan mentioned. Instead, she was curious about the words Wu Yan used. She was curious about what kind of situation could make this guy, the third strongest in Academy City, say something like go berserk. As for the mental and psychological problems of this so-called child, Shokuhu Misaki didn't care. With her ability, it's a piece of cake. This is why Wu Yan came to Shokuhu Misaki. Chapter 288. Academy City, School District 7, Wu Yan's house. The house that was originally quiet suddenly erupted with a loud roar that shook the very foundations of the house. Yua. Inside the living room, the owner of the roar is lying on top of a table. She's yelling while kicking her legs around. It's obvious that the owner of the voice is throwing a tantrum. The owner of the tantrum is Flandre-chan. Hinajuku, Mikoto, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, and Estrella were covering their ears like they couldn't take it anymore. Ikaros was the only one who looked at Flandre-chan with a blank expression. Maybe she didn't know how to react, or maybe she just didn't know how to react. Hinajuku and Mikoto looked at each other helplessly. Even though the two girls are the ones who can make the decisions in this family other than Wu Yan, they really don't know what to do with a child throwing a tantrum. Let alone them, none of the girls here have any experience in taking care of a child. Although Hinajuku and Mikoto have taken care of little Liren before, little Liren was too obedient and didn't know how to take care of her. So Hinajuku and Mikoto are really at their wits' end. Chuju has a headache looking at Flandre-chan, who's rolling around on the table. She walked up to her and said, Flandre-chan, be a good girl and calm down, okay? I don't want to. But Flandre-chan doesn't seem like she's going to be obedient. She's still lying on the table, waving her arms and legs around. Chuju and Mikoto can't get close to her. I want Oniai-chan. Flandre-chan wants Oniai-chan. That's right, that's why Flandre-chan is throwing a tantrum. For Flandre-chan, in this unfamiliar world, her sister isn't here, the people from Scarlet Devil Mansion aren't here either. The only person she can rely on is Wu Yan, whom she just met yesterday. Wu Yan is a very important person to her. Perhaps due to her power being sealed, Flandre-chan has become very reliant on Wu Yan. But from another perspective, it's understandable. If a child's family brought her to a strange house and then disappeared, then the child would definitely make a big fuss. Flanderchan is in such a situation. Plus, Flanderchan's mental state wasn't very stable to begin with. It's not hard to guess why she ended up like this. If Flanderchan's powers weren't sealed, I'm afraid everything in this house would have been wiped out a long time ago, including people. It has to be said that once a child starts to make a fuss, the sound of her voice isn't something an average person can bear. Even if Flanderchan lost her powers, her voice was still enough to make everyone in the house unable to bear it. Flanderchan has been in this state ever since she woke up this morning. This caused all the young girls present to have a headache. At the same time, they couldn't help but wonder what kind of charm that guy had to make such a cute little girl rely on him so much. This is a classic case of saying the grapes are sour when you can't eat them. Looking at Flanderchan, who's still throwing a tantrum, Chuju, Mikoto, and the others can't help but cry. Mikoto is the one who screamed like a madwoman. Yen! Where the hell did you go? Come back right now. Perhaps it was because of Mikoto's shout, the living room suddenly lit up. Other than Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, all the other girls' eyes lit up. When the light dissipated, Wu Yan's figure appeared in the living room in front of the girls. Chuju, Mikoto, Astria, and the others sighed in relief. As for Kinohada Sayai and the others, they're still trying to figure out how Wu Yan appeared. When Wu Yan appeared in the living room and saw the expressions on the girls' faces, he was stunned. What's wrong with you girls? Why are you looking at me like that? Oni-chan. Cheers came from behind Wu Yan, startling Wu Yan. He reflexively turned around and a small figure jumped up from the table and ran into Wu Yan's arms. Wu Yan subconsciously hugged the small figure. He was stunned again. Flanderchan? Oni-chan, where did you go? Flanderchan missed you so much. She kept rubbing her face against Wu Yan's body. Her small hands were clutching onto Wu Yan's clothes as if she's afraid Wu Yan will disappear again. She looked at Wu Yan with teary eyes. She looked like she's going to cry at any second. This made Wu Yan panic. Patting Flanderchan's back, Wu Yan said gently. Oni-chan didn't go anywhere. I just had something to do. Oni-chan is a bad guy. You abandoned Flanderchan. Flanderchan puffed up her cheeks in dissatisfaction. She turned her head away from Wu Yan, but her small hands were still clutching onto Wu Yan's body. Wu Yan felt helpless and amused at the same time. You're finally back. If you didn't come back, the sky would have collapsed. Chuju looked at the quiet Flanderchan and sighed in relief. At the same time, she looked at Wu Yan in pleasant surprise. She seemed to have a hard time. Wu Yan, who didn't experience Flanderchan's lion roar, was puzzled. Mikoto also looked at Wu Yan in pleasant surprise. To be honest, if Wu Yan didn't come back, Mikoto would have had the urge to send out a bolt of lightning. One can imagine how helpless she was just now. That pleasant surprise, however, froze when she heard a giggle. Misaka-san, you're still so energetic. Mikoto's smile froze on her face. She felt a small electric current flowing through her forehead. This voice, this tone, could it be? Before Mikoto could finish her sentence, Kinohada Sayai and Frenda beside her called out first. The fifth. Mikoto slapped her own face and covered her eyes. So it's you, Shokuhu Misaki. Shokuhu Misaki covered her mouth and giggled. What's wrong? Misaka-san, you don't look too happy to see me. How can I be happy to see you? Mikoto didn't mince her words. There was even a hint of hatred in her voice. It looks like she really doesn't welcome Shokuhu Misaki's arrival. Mikoto pointed at Shokuhu Misaki with an unfriendly look. Woman, why are you here? Shokuhu Misaki shrugged and sighed helplessly. She then looked at Mikoto with a don't you know look and said. Of course it's Yen who brought me here. Mikoto's mouth twitched. I guessed a little, but now that I know, why do I have a... Turning her head towards Wu Yan, sparks flashed on Mikoto's forehead as she asked in a low voice. Where's the urge to electrocute people? Wu Yan chuckled awkwardly. Even though he knew he'd be the one to get hurt if Sis Cannon and Jusama were to bump into each other, but for Flanderchan, on the side, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubo Riku were stunned by this scene. Watching the interaction between Mikoto and Shokuhu Misaki, as well as Shokuhu Misaki's words, Kinohada Sayai's eyebrows twitched. Don't tell me this super fifth was also super recruited into the Crystal Palace by that super slut? Frenda looked at Shokuhu Misaki as if she had seen through the truth before looking at Wu Yen. She instantly understood. In the end, psychological control also became a member of that guy's Crystal Palace. Kinohada Sayai clenched her fists and said hatefully, this super pervert already has so many women, yet he still wants to super Crystal Palace. Could it be that the only thing in his head is the word female? Hearing this, Frenda shrugged. In the end, aren't we still the female that he has his eyes on? Kinohada Sayai remained silent, but her pair of small eyes kept darting around, as if she was thinking of something bad. Takitsubo Riku kept looking at Wu Yen. There was a hint of sadness in her eyes. Will he still remember me? Chapter 289. Seeing Shokuhu Misaki looking like she's going to humiliate Mikoto, he knew that if this goes on, Sis Cannon will go berserk, so he quickly interrupted her. Jisama, let's get down to business first. Business is more important. Shokuhu Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yen, clearly displeased that Wu Yen didn't let her tease Mikoto. This made Wu Yen laugh dryly. When will he find a way to make these two happy? After all, they're both his women. Wu Yan's face was soon covered in tears, because the answer is no. Mikoto and the rest knew that Wu Yen brought Shokuhu Misaki here for a reason. Recalling what Wu Yen explained to them, Mikoto and Chuju finally understood. At the same time, they looked at Flander-chan in Wu Yan's arms with pity in their eyes. Mikoto humphed and turned her head away, refusing to look at Shokuhu Misaki. Flander-chan may only stick to Wu Yen, but the other girls are quite fond of her. Other than Ikaros, who doesn't have a strong emotional system, most of the girls here have a preference for Flander-chan. Seeing Mikoto ignoring her, Shokuhu Misaki also turned her head away. This made Wu Yen a little speechless. Why does it feel like Jisama isn't here to help? She's here to cause trouble. Soon, Shokuhu Misaki finally noticed Flander-chan in Wu Yan's arms. Seeing how cute Flander-chan is, Shokuhu Misaki's eyes flashed with fondness. Even Jisama isn't immune to this. It's easy to see how charming Flander-chan is. However, when Shokuhu Misaki saw Flander-chan's wine-red eyes that are the same as Wu Yan's, she froze. Without thinking, Shokuhu Misaki blurted out. This child, don't tell me she's your and someone's daughter? Chuju, Mikoto, Astria, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubo Riku all stumbled and fell to the ground. Ikaros also looked at Shokuhu Misaki in shock. This proves how shocking Shokuhu Misaki's words are. If he wasn't carrying Flander-chan, Wu Yen would have fallen to the ground and wouldn't be able to get up again. Wu Yen can only reply in an annoyed tone. Where the hell did you get that conclusion from? Shokuhu Misaki suspiciously looked at Wu Yen before looking at Flander-chan. She pointed at Flander-chan's eyes and reasoned with her. Look, aren't your pupils the same? Wu Yen choked. He didn't know what to say. There are plenty of people with the same pupils in this world, but wine-red eyes are a rare sight. Since they happen to have the same pair of pupils, anyone would think they're related. However, Jisama's words are a bit shocking. Wu Yen really wanted to explain that Flander-chan isn't his daughter, but he can't explain why they have the same pupils. Wu Yen could only come up with one sentence. If I say no, would you believe me? Hearing this, Shokuhu Misaki tapped her chin with her index finger, looked around at everyone, nodded, and gave an unexpected answer. I believe you. Wu Yan's eyebrows twitched. Why would you believe me so easily? Hearing Wu Yan's words, Shokuhu Misaki smiled. She looked at Wu Yen with her starry eyes and said, because I don't believe you can give birth to such an excellent breed with your ability. As soon as Shokuhu Misaki finished speaking, the girls heard a sound of something breaking. It came from Wu Yan's body. It came from his brain. Taking a deep breath, Wu Yen told himself not to get angry. Don't get angry, don't get angry, don't get angry. How can I win against Jisama when it comes to talking? Even if I'm angry, I should get back at her. Yes, that's right. With that thought in mind, Wu Yen felt relieved. A smile bloomed on his face. This made the girls who were familiar with him a little confused. Only Shokuhu Misaki looked surprised. She seemed to have thought of something. She lowered her head in regret. Shokuhu Misaki's heartbeat quickened. Her legs felt like jelly as if she was reminded of something. To avoid embarrassing herself, Shokuhu Misaki quickly told Wu Yan. Okay, didn't you ask me to see this child? Let's start. Wu Yan narrowed his eyes. He put this matter in his heart. He'll deal with Jusama later. Looking down at Flandre-chan in his arms, Wu Yan said, Flandre-chan, let that big sister take a look at you. Flandre-chan didn't understand. She didn't know what Wu Yan and Shokuhu Misaki wanted to do to her, but since Wu Yan said so, Flandre-chan looked at Shokuhu Misaki and nodded. Seeing this, Shokuhu Misaki smiled and nodded her chin. She took out a remote control from her purse and pointed it at Flandre-chan. Then she pressed the button lightly. After the beep, Flandre-chan's pupils seemed to have lost their light. Her eyes that were full of life lost all color and became as still as water. She didn't move at all. Chuju, Mikoto, and Astria held their breaths. They didn't want to disturb Shokuhu Misaki. Kinohata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku didn't know what's going on, but anyone with a brain would know what to do and what not to do. Thus, they quieted down and waited. Shokuhu Misaki's starry eyes also seemed to have lost their light. Even the stars in them didn't shine, but after a while, her starry eyes trembled violently. At the same time, Shokuhu Misaki's face turned pale. Everyone's heart was in their throats. They were worried something might happen to Flandre-chan. Luckily, Shokuhu Misaki quickly regained her composure. Everyone released a sigh of relief. Wu Yan bitterly laughed. This Jusama, is she trying to scare people to death with her sudden outburst? After a long time, under the strange silence, Shokuhu Misaki finally finished her work and put away the remote control in her hand. However, her pair of starry eyes kept flashing, and her expression was extremely complicated. How is it? Is there any way? Seeing Shokuhu Misaki put away the remote control, Wu Yan quickly asked. Everyone turned to look at Shokuhu Misaki. Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yan with a complicated expression. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Wu Yan didn't understand. Perhaps she saw Wu Yan's confusion. Shokuhu Misaki sighed and said, I didn't expect your origin to be so mysterious. A different world, a system, I really didn't expect it. Hearing this, Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto were shocked. Wu Yan looked at Shokuhu Misaki in shock and asked, You know everything? After asking this question, Wu Yan suddenly remembered that Shokuhu Misaki, with her mind control ability, can peek into other people's memories. In other words, Shokuhu Misaki peeked into Flandre-chan's memories and obtained the system's memories from Flandre-chan's memories. In other words, Jusama really knows everything. Shokuhu Misaki looked at the dumbfounded Wu Yan. The resentment in her starry eyes intensified. No wonder you said Misaka Mikoto has a bigger world waiting for her. Indeed, compared to you guys who can travel through worlds, a small Tokuwadai is nothing to you guys. Wu Yan laughed awkwardly. He knew that Shokuhu Misaki was complaining about how he protected Mikoto during their first meeting. However, while Shokuhu Misaki understood, the others didn't. Oi oi oi, what are you guys talking about? Kinohata Sayai shouted. What different world? What super system? What super time travel? Explain it all to me. Wu Yan, Hinajaku, and Mikoto looked at each other, helplessness in their eyes. Great, now they're exposed. What a blunder. Chapter 290. He has to admit, asking Shokuhu Misaki to check on Flandre-chan's mental state was a mistake, but it also solved one of Wu Yan's problems. Of course, Wu Yan didn't expect Shokuhu Misaki to peek into Flandre-chan's memories. The system's transfer of memories to Flandre-chan was more than enough for Shokuhu Misaki to learn about their secrets. Coincidentally, Wu Yan's problem was solved by Shokuhu Misaki, Kinohata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. Wu Yan's mission 3 was to push down at least 3 characters and make them follow him out of this world. Wu Yan already had a target in mind. He successfully pushed 2 of them onto his bed and rolled around in the sheets with him. However, he didn't know how to explain his situation to them. He didn't know where to start at this moment. Now, Josama's peek into her memories gave Wu Yan a chance to explain himself to everyone. In a way, Wu Yan's problem has been solved. In the huge living room, Shokuhu Misaki, Kinohara Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku were listening to Wu Yan's story. Other than Shokuhu Misaki, who exclaimed from time to time, the other three were stunned. Shokuhu Misaki obtained a lot of information from peeking into Flanderchan's memories. Now, with Wu Yan's explanation, she didn't have much of a reaction. However, this is the first time Kinohara Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku have heard of something so absurd. That's right, to the three of them, this matter is indeed absurd. What system? What transmigration? What spalier world? What instance dungeon? Every single one of them made their little brains swell up, they almost short-circuited. It can be said that Kinohara Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku didn't want to believe Wu Yan's words at all. After all, this is the science world. Everything has to be based on science. Is everything Wu Yan said scientific? However, when Ikaros and Astria revealed their wings, Flanderchan revealed her tail and crystal wings, the three girls were stunned. Even Shokuhu Misaki, who saw this for the first time, couldn't help but cover her mouth with her hand. She was shocked beyond words. In other words, everything you said is super real? Kinohara Sayai stared blankly at Chuju and Mikoto. If it was Wu Yan's words, no matter how convincing, Kinohara Sayai wouldn't choose to believe it. It's obvious how much Kinohara Sayai's hatred towards Wu Yan too's level. But since it came from Hinajaku and Mikoto, she had no choice but to believe it. She knows that Wu Yan might be bullshitting, but Hinajaku and Mikoto, with their temperaments, they wouldn't be so immoral when it comes to matters like this. That's why when the two nodded, Kinohara Sayai grabbed her head and shook it. She had a "I've already fainted, the world has already been destroyed" look on her face. She couldn't accept it. However, from another perspective, Wu Yan's words did indeed destroy their world. To be more precise, it should be their worldview, that means. Kinohara Sayai turned to look at Wu Yan with excitement in her eyes. You'll leave this world one day, won't you? Wu Yan nodded. Kinohara Sayai almost jumped up in joy when she saw Wu Yan nodding. She wanted to cry in her heart. Finally, I can escape from this devil's clutches. Wu Yan knew what Kinohara Sayai was thinking when he saw the excitement in her eyes. Wu Yan smiled and said, "We will leave this world, but when the time comes, we will bring you with us. So, don't worry about us abandoning you." What? This time, Kinohara Sayai really jumped up. However, she wasn't happy. She pointed at Wu Yan and complained loudly. "You super pervert. You won't super let us go even if we super leave this world?" Ma, calm down, girl." Wu Yan patted Kinohara Sayai's shoulder and smiled. "We have such a good relationship, how can I abandon you? So don't worry, I don't want to give up on such a cute maid. You're the maid. Your whole family is super maids." Frenda sighed and said dejectedly, "I already knew the result. How can this wolf let us go so easily?" As for Takitsubu Riku, after accepting Wu Yan's words, she didn't care anymore. She was once a member of the Black Ops in Academy City. She had seen too much of the dark side of Academy City. She didn't have much of a sense of belonging to Academy City, so she didn't care about leaving. Instead, it was Shokuhu Misaki who showed great interest in this matter. She placed the back of her hand on her mouth and smiled. "Spalier world, interesting. I'd like to see that so-called other world," Wu Yan couldn't help but ask. "Josama, you're not thinking of coming with us, are you?" "Oh. Can't I?" Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yan and said with a sad voice. "Don't tell me, Xiao Yan, you're planning to go back on your word after pushing me down?" Hearing Shokuhu Misaki's words, Wu Yan cursed. Sure enough, almost at the same time, Chuju, Mikoto, Kinohara Sayai, and Frenda all screamed in shock. "Push her down." Among them, Mikoto's reaction was the most intense. She couldn't help it. If it was someone else, it would be fine. If it was someone else, it would be fine. But this is Shokuhu Misaki. The Shokuhu Misaki he hated the most. Asterisk beep. Asterisk a flash of lightning came from Mikoto's body. Wu Yan's body trembled and he almost ran away. When Wu Yan slowly turned to Mikoto's direction, Mikoto's body was already filled with blue and white electricity. Lowering her head, Mikoto raised a fist and said in a low voice, "Yan, don't you have anything to explain?" Wu Yan smiled bitterly and waved his hands as if to tell Mikoto to calm down. But his action, which was equivalent to admitting it, made Mikoto go berserk. Hearing the lightning getting more intense, Wu Yan glared at Shokuhu Misaki who was gloating over his misfortune. Looking at Mikoto who was about to turn into a goddess, he steeled his heart. With a leap, Wu Yan jumped in front of Mikoto. With one hand still holding Flandre-chan, he used his other hand to pull Mikoto into his embrace. Mikoto shrieked and the electric current in her body disappeared. She fell into Wu Yan's arms and before she could react, a big mouth covered her little mouth causing her to widen her eyes. "Oh!" Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Astria gasped in shock. Hinajaku, on the other hand, had already covered one of her eyes. She couldn't bear to look at it anymore. The world is getting worse. That, "oh," didn't just mean the girls were shocked, it also woke Mikoto up. Looking at Wu Yan's face so close to hers, Mikoto's face started to heat up. Starting from her neck, a bright red color started to crawl up her face until it covered her entire face. Following a bang sound, Mikoto's head boiled with water. The steam rose slowly, showing how embarrassed its master was right now. She pushed Wu Yan away and pointed at Wu Yan. "You. What are you doing? There are so many people here, you." Looking at Mikoto's red face, Wu Yan chuckled. This is the effect he wanted. Wu Yan even wiped his lips with a wicked smile. His scum temperament was on full display. Mikoto's face turned even redder. She felt everyone's gazes were so piercing. She covered her head and ran back to her room. Chuju gave Wu Yan a reproachful look before she chased after Mikoto. Astria followed suit. Ikaros gave Wu Yan a hesitant look before following as well. Wu Yan let out a sigh of relief. At least his life is saved. Chapter 291. With the departure of Mikoto, Chuju, Astria, and Ikaros, the place became a lot emptier. The only ones left were those who had something to do with leaving this world. Perhaps that's why Ikaros was hesitant when she left. It's obvious she wants to stay by Wu Yan's side, but she also knows that Wu Yan should take care of Shokuhu Misaki, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. That's why Ikaros decided to leave. Wu Yan, who guessed her thoughts, couldn't help but smile dotingly. As expected, Ikaros is the one who deserves the most love, Shokuhu Misaki suddenly said. She's quite understanding, that girl called Ikaros. To Shokuhu Misaki's surprise, Wu Yan shook his head and he chuckled. No, I think it's a bit of a misnomer to use on Ikaros. Looking at the direction Ikaros left, Wu Yan said with a doting smile. Ikaros is a bit slow when it comes to emotions, there are a lot of things she can't understand. Then that's why Ikaros is trying her best to change herself. What she doesn't know is that I like her the most. She doesn't need to change at all. Shokuhu Misaki nodded as if she understood something. She turned to Wu Yan and giggled. So, you're not worried that I will get jealous of you, huh? Wu Yan glanced at Shokuhu Misaki and he smirked. Oh. Then why don't you try one for me? Shokuhu Misaki humphed and turned her head away. What are you doing? Can't I be jealous? I'm still a girl. Yes. Shokuhu Misaki was even more annoyed by Wu Yan's perfunctory reply. Before she could complain, Wu Yan said. Oh right, how's Flandre-chan? Shokuhu Misaki narrowed her eyes. She looked at Flandre-chan who was sleeping in Wu Yan's arms because of her ability. Don't worry about her, she's fine. Her mental state is a bit unstable but she'll be fine soon. She'll be a normal little girl again. Wu Yan was stunned for a moment before he was overjoyed. He tightened his grip on Flandre-chan and said, "Thank you, Konosama." Shokuhu Misaki didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Don't misunderstand, I didn't do anything." "Didn't do anything?" Wu Yan looked at Shokuhu Misaki in surprise. After making sure she wasn't joking, he frowned and he looked at Flandre-chan in his arms. "If you didn't do anything, how did Flandre-chan's mental state recover so quickly?" Shokuhu Misaki glanced at Flandre-chan and stroked her blonde hair. Originally, this little girl by the name of Fran became mentally abnormal because she possessed a terrifyingly powerful strength that overrode her young heart. And now, you've already sealed her power. Without that terrifying power as a burden, she's like a spring that has lost its weight. Her mind will naturally grow stronger in the following time until it returns to normal. Wu Yan laughed heartily. Then, he noticed that Flandre-chan is still sleeping, so he stopped himself from laughing out loud. Instead, he chuckled. "That's great." Shokuhu Misaki stared blankly at Flandre-chan's sweet sleeping posture and sighed. "I can't believe this little girl has such power inside her body. I'm afraid even all the LV5s in Academy City combined wouldn't last more than a minute. That ability that can destroy everything in its path is truly terrifying. You know about that too?" Shokuhu Misaki rolled her eyes and regained her confidence. "Of course, Flandre-chan's power is strong, but it's been sealed. Plus, her mental state is unstable, so it's easy to invade her mind. Basically, I know everything she knows." "You know about Jinsokyo as well?" Shokuhu Misaki nodded. Wu Yan hesitated for a bit before asking. "Then, what Flandre-chan did in Jinsokyo, you know about it as well?" Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yan and laughed. "You didn't think Flandre-chan's identity as a vampire and how she tore people apart would scare me, did you?" Wu Yan smiled sheepishly. "So you knew about it." Shokuhu Misaki rolled her eyes at Wu Yan and sighed. "Those so-called scholars in Academy City, what they did to the aptitude users or test subjects is even worse than what Flandre-chan did to them. I've been watching them since I was a child because of my mind control ability." Wu Yan went silent. "Indeed, the darkness in Academy City is too thick. Shokuhu Misaki, with her mind control ability, is probably the one who's experienced the darkness the most in Academy City, whether it's her own experience or someone else's memories." Seeing Wu Yan's expression, Shokuhu Misaki laughed and said, "Era, are you feeling sorry for me, little Yen?" Shokuhu Misaki's teasing tone caused Wu Yan's repressed expression to crumble. The heaviness in his heart also dissipated. He rolled his eyes at Shokuhu Misaki before replying in an annoyed tone. I was, but not now." Shokuhu Misaki immediately leaned on Wu Yan and wrapped her arms around Wu Yan's neck. "Don't be like that, I like to see you feeling sorry for me." Wu Yan's eyebrows twitched and the corner of his mouth twitched. "You like it when I feel sorry for you?" Shokuhu Misaki giggled and suddenly asked Wu Yan out of curiosity. "Little Yen, when are we leaving this place and going to that spalier world? I'm really curious about that place." Wu Yan shook his head helplessly. "Jusama, what's there to be curious about another world? Of course I'm curious." Shokuhu Misaki said with a bit of dissatisfaction. "You said Misaka Mikoto would use that place as a stage, don't you think she can do it?" Wu Yan clutched his head and laughed. "So it's because of Mikoto, so, when is it?" "Well, if you're in such a hurry, then we'll have to see if a certain someone is willing to cooperate." Wu Yan's wine-red eyes shot out like an arrow and landed on a lowly girl who was trying to tiptoe out of the room. She froze in her tracks just as she was about to take a step forward. "She's Kinohada Sai." For some reason, after Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Estrella left, Kinohada Sai's body trembled. She had a bad feeling about this and the alarm in her head went off. Girls tend to have an inexplicable trust towards their own sixth sense. Thus, Kinohada Sai decisively followed her heart's guidance and started to sneak out, but in the end, Kinohada Sai didn't manage to escape. At the same time, Kinohada Sai's alarm went off like crazy. Without hesitation, Kinohada Sai sprinted out of the room. But soon, she felt that her running feet were already in the air. Kinohara Sai fell into despair. She struggled with all her might and shouted. Super, let go of me, you super pervert. Wu Yan grinned when he heard that. Kinohara girl, you won't be able to escape today. Ignoring Kinohara Sai's struggle, Wu Yan grabbed Kinohara Sai by the back of her collar and walked into the room. Seeing this, Frenda patted her chest in relief. But then she remembered that she was pushed down a long time ago. Takitsubo Riku stared blankly at Kinohara Sai being dragged into the room. She realized what was going to happen next and her face turned red. Chapter 292. Shokuhu Misaki, Frenda, and Takitsubo Riku stared blankly at Kinohara Sai being dragged into the room by Wu Yan. It wasn't until the sound of the door slamming shut that the three girls in the living room finally reacted. With Shokuhu Misaki, Frenda, and Takitsubo Riku's brains, plus the way things have developed, they can easily guess what Wu Yan is planning to do with Kinohara Sai. Speaking of which, if you bring a girl into your room, even if you say there's nothing going on, no one will believe you. Shokuhu Misaki gritted her teeth and snorted coldly as if venting her anger, but she didn't say anything. Seeing Wu Yan bringing a girl into his room right in front of her made her feel a little uncomfortable. But based on what Wu Yan said before, Shokuhu Misaki can guess that leaving this world has something to do with what Wu Yan is planning to do. Shokuhu Misaki couldn't help but think to herself, could it be that in order to leave this world, one must use the method of pushing someone down? That means, a pair of starry eyes turned to Frenda and to Takitsubo Riku. Shokuhu Misaki's pupils turned as if she had thought of something. Suddenly, a hint of slyness flashed across her eyes. Even the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile. Frenda and Takitsubo Riku, who had been watching Wu Yan and Kinohara Sai enter the room, suddenly felt a chill run down their spine. It's as if a cheetah has its eyes on them. Their faces twitched and they started looking around for the source of the chill. At the same time, the source of the chill, Shokuhu Misaki secretly smiled. She glanced at Frenda and Takitsubo Riku, then at Mikoto's room. She quietly took out a remote control and pointed it at Frenda and Takitsubo Riku. On the other side, Wu Yan's room, don't come over here. Let me tell you, I'm super awesome. Kinohara Sai slowly shrunk deeper into the bed, and as Wu Yan got closer, she also shrunk deeper into the bed. Kinohara Sai's little heart was beating rapidly, and her face was filled with panic. She could only helplessly put on an "I'm very fierce" expression, staring at Wu Yan while saying some weak words. When Wu Yan heard Kinohara Sai's words, he couldn't help but laugh. Even his footsteps stopped. Looking at Kinohara Sai, who was shrinking into the bed, Wu Yan shook his head, crossed his arms, and looked at Kinohara Sai with a smile. Kinohara Sai also stopped and looked at Wu Yan suspiciously. According to her understanding of Wu Yan shouldn't be someone who would let go of such a threat. Could it be that this fellow had suddenly found his conscience? When such a thought appeared in Kinohara Sai's mind, Wu Yan laughed loudly, and pounced on Kinohara Sai like a wolf hunting for its prey. Kinohara Sai was shocked, she screamed and retreated, but it was already too late. Wu Yan accurately pounced on Kinohara Sai's delicate body, and pushed her onto the bed. A thick manly scent assaulted Kinohara Sai's face, and her body also gained a weight that was much heavier than her, but unexpectedly, she was able to withstand the weight with her small body, causing Kinohara Sai to be stunned. Super, let go of me. Kinohara Sai screamed in panic, but unfortunately, just as she started screaming, her hands were grabbed by the person on top of her, and with a twist, her hands were above her. Help. Super, help. Frenda. Takitsubo. Super, come and save me. Sensing that she was being restrained, the panic in Kinohara Sai's heart became even more intense. In her panic, Kinohara Sai could only use her womanly instincts to scream for help. If it was any other time, this might work, since Chuju, Mikoto, and the others wouldn't not appear when they heard someone screaming for help from their room. But at this moment, Mikoto was hiding in her room, and Chuju, Astria, and the others were also hiding in Mikoto's room. For the time being, they wouldn't be able to hear Kinohara Sai's cries for help. If Kinohara Sai continued to scream, she would eventually be rescued, but would Wu Yan allow her to continue screaming? Licking his lips, Wu Yan laughed out loud. He bent down and his lips met with Kinohara Sayai's little mouth. The rest of her words were blocked back in her throat. Kinohara Sayai's eyes widened, she was crying in her heart. This is the second time I was forcefully kissed by this despicable wolf on top of me. It's a pity that the heavens gave me such a cute appearance and body, but today, it's going to be taken away by this wolf. While Kinohara Sayai's mind was in a mess, Wu Yan's tongue had already broken through Kinohara Sayai's tightly clenched teeth. With an unstoppable force, he captured Kinohara Sayai's little tongue. Thus, the two tongues that have seen each other before started tangling with each other. The pleasure of their tongues intertwining quickly entered Kinohara Sayai's mind. Although Kinohara Sayai was young, her heart that had experienced countless B-grade movies started to tremble. Her eyes started to water up. Kinohara Sayai almost lost herself in the pleasure of that passionate kiss. Realizing that her body was starting to heat up, Kinohara Sayai hardened her heart and decided to bite down on Wu Yan's tongue that was moving freely in her mouth. However, at the next moment, Kinohara Sayai's teeth that were about to bite down suddenly lost all strength due to Kinohara Sayai's expression. The reason is that unbeknownst to her, Wu Yan's big hand had already passed through Kinohara Sayai's clothes and started to pinch her soft and small breasts. Wu Yan's hand that was supposed to be holding both of Kinohara Sayai's hands was now left with only one. With one hand holding both of Kinohara Sayai's hands tightly together, the other hand can naturally do whatever he wants. Woo, 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 feeling her breasts being pinched rhythmically by a hand, Kinohara Sayai's pupils dilated again, her eyes started to water up again, her face started to blush, her mouth started to make the same rhythmic moans as the hand that's pinching her breasts. It's very cute and moving. Even Wu Yan, who has already tasted the taste of a lowly girl, couldn't help but feel a ripple in his heart. Frenda as a lowly has a sweet appearance and a cute personality, she exudes the taste of cuteness everywhere. Wu Yan really enjoyed it. As for Kinohara Sayai, compared to Frenda who knows how to act cute, this lowly has a different taste when tasting her. This made Wu Yan's evil heart start to beat with eagerness. Especially Kinohara Sayai, she also has a pair of beautiful legs. In the morning, he pushed down the queen, blonde, and huge-breasts Shokuhu Misaki, now he's going to push down another lowly. Even Wu Yan felt that he's being evil, of course, it's only for a while. As for his evil actions today, Wu Yan didn't feel that there's anything wrong with it. In fact, he felt that today is his lucky day. Wu Yan loves to play. Thus, Wu Yan, who's gradually getting dissatisfied, immediately let go of Kinohara Sayai's little bunny that he's holding. Kinohara Sayai couldn't help but sigh in relief. But this sigh of relief didn't last long before it's lifted up again. Letting go doesn't mean letting go. If one isn't enough, then let's go with two. What a simple thought. And it's this simple thought that made Wu Yan's hands start to fondle and knead Kinohara Sayai's little bunnies back and forth, kneading them into various shapes. Kinohara Sayai's bones have completely melted. Even if she doesn't want to admit it, Kinohara Sayai has to admit that Wu Yan's technique is too skillful. At this moment, she's starting to feel something. Her body started to heat up, Kinohara Sayai's eyes started to blur, the strength of her struggle started to weaken, all the strength in her body has been gathered into her mouth, used to moan. At this moment, Wu Yan's hand has already pulled out from Kinohara Sayai's clothes and started to target her clothes. Chapter 293. Under Kinohara Sayai's weak resistance and unyielding whimpers of protest, Kinohara Sayai's unchanging hoodie and shorts were taken away from her petite body not too long after. The clothes were casually thrown under the bed by Wu Yan. At this moment, Kinohara Sayai has turned into a naked little lamb in front of Wu Yan. That petite body of a lowly did not diminish the lust in Wu Yan's heart. After all, even if it's a lowly, Kinohara Sayai's body has an unusual charm. Smooth and beautiful thighs, smooth and supple skin, as well as a delicate fragrance that assails the nostrils, all of these are seductive luster from this petite body. Feeling the chill on her body, Kinohara Sayai understood her current situation. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to die. This is also the second time Kinohara Sayai exposed her body in front of a man. Kinohada Sai wanted to raise her hands to block in front of her chest to block Wu Yan's invasive gaze. However, before she could do anything, Wu Yan seemed to have seen through her intentions. With a "pa" sound, he grabbed her hands and pressed them on both sides of Kinohada Sai's head. "Wu, you despicable bastard," even though she knows that no matter what she says, the big bad wolf on top of her will not let her go, Kinohada Sai still couldn't help but cry out. Wu Yan admired Kinohada Sai's petite body that he hasn't seen for a long time. Then, he looked at Kinohada Sai's eyes and laughed. "Kinohada girl, are you still thinking of resisting? It's useless, it's better to give up. How about this, I'll be gentler from now on." Hearing this, Kinohada Sai stubbornly stared at Wu Yan and shouted. "How can I not resist? I'm being pushed by a super strong force. If I don't resist, doesn't that mean I'm being pushed by a super strong force?" Wu Yan's expression turned awkward. "You know that you're being pushed by a super strong force, yet you still have the time to explain?" Kinohada Sai was stunned for a moment before nodding her head in realization. "Oh, right. I'm being pushed by a super strong force right now, I don't have time to explain." After saying that, Kinohada Sai looked at Wu Yan suspiciously. "You're still talking about me? Aren't you also doing the same thing? You even have the time to chat with the girl you're trying to force yourself on?" Wu Yan was also stunned. After an "oh," he said, "Oh, that's right. I'm in the middle of a forceful push, but I still have the mood to chat." Following the conversation between the two, the scene fell into a strange silence. Only the two of them were left staring at each other. Their expressions were very interesting. To be able to have such a conversation in the middle of a forceful push, it was really amazing. After a long time, Wu Yan suddenly said to Kinohada Sai, "I say, are you trying to use unreliable dialogue to get away with this?" Kinohada Sai's expression froze, her eyes started to turn resentful. Her reaction was no doubt telling Wu Yan that she was trying to get away with it. Wu Yan's mouth twitched, he suddenly reached out and pressed Kinohada Sai's small breasts. He started to pinch them with all his might, causing Kinohada Sai's expression to change and she started to moan. "Aw, let go of me, this time." Wu Yan ignored Kinohada Sai's cries and started to focus on Kinohada Sai's small body. He even stuck out his tongue and started to tease Kinohada Sai's small body. Kinohada Sai has never experienced such a situation before. She couldn't help but tighten her body and bite her lips. She felt that as Wu Yan's tongue continued to lick her body started to feel strange. A strange yet familiar feeling started to emerge from the depths of Kinohada Sai's body. The reason why it's strange yet familiar is because Kinohada Sai has only felt this once before. This feeling, it's the same feeling she felt after being defeated by Wu Yan and being trained by him. Under the control of this strange yet familiar feeling, Kinohada Sai reacted without hesitation. His hand lightly brushed across Kinohada Sai's smooth thighs. Feeling that it's about time, Wu Yan smiled excitedly. He waved his hand and in the next second, his tightly wrapped clothes flew away. From the speed, it's clear that Wu Yan's undressing skills have reached an unimaginable level. When the great spear appeared in front of Kinohada Sai started to panic. In her panic, Kinohada Sai couldn't help but scream. Using an unknown strength, she pushed Wu Yan away and turned around to crawl to the other side. After crawling a few steps, Kinohada Sai felt that she couldn't crawl anymore, because her small waist was grabbed by Wu Yan's two large hands. At the same time, Kinohada Sai also felt a hard sensation pressing against her small buttocks. Knowing that she can't escape anymore, Kinohada Sai couldn't help but let out a final whimper. Her heart is crying. "Goodbye, my lovely youth." Following Kinohada Sai's whimper, Wu Yan also shrugged his waist, allowing Kinohada Sai to let out another whimper. But this time, it should be a scream of pain. Why, is it so painful? Kinohada Sai's pair of small eyebrows are deeply furrowed, her mouth is letting out a painful moan. Her body is also tensed up, she doesn't dare to move anymore. From this, it can be seen how much pain Kinohada Sai is in. Trying her best to hold back the tears that are about to reach her eyes, Kinohada Sai bit her lips to prevent herself from crying. Kinohada Sayai's stubborn personality doesn't allow herself to cry because of pain. The pain came so quickly, but it didn't go so quickly. After all, Kinohada Sayai is only a 12-year-old girl. Feeling the pain in her body, Kinohada Sayai kept trying to hypnotize herself. I don't feel pain. I don't feel pain. I don't feel pain. Hearing Kinohada Sayai's soft and painful moans, Wu Yan couldn't help but laugh and shake his head. He didn't want to feel how good it is right now. He leaned on Kinohada Sayai's back and whispered into her ear. If it's painful, it's better to cry out, it'll heal faster that way. Hearing that, Kinohada Sayai's murmuring mouth paused. She glared fiercely at Wu Yan and started sobbing. You despicable super pervert, ked me, and now you're saying such sarcastic words. Wu Yan grinned sheepishly and shut his mouth. Indeed, saying something like that at a time like this feels a bit like making sarcastic remarks. However, after being teased by Wu Yan, Kinohada Sayai felt the pain in her body lessen by quite a bit. Her tightly furrowed eyebrows also loosened up. However, in the next moment, a sudden sense of emptiness made her face stiffen again. The fatal sense of emptiness made Kinohada Sayai start to wish for Wu Yan to do something. She wanted to open her mouth, but she suddenly remembered that she was the one who was forced to do it. How can she open her mouth? Thus, Kinohada Sayai started to feel conflicted. If Wu Yan knew what Kinohada Sayai was thinking, Wu Yan would definitely feel conflicted too. What kind of situation is this? You still have the time to think about such things. Could it be that your hidden nature is off the line? However, even though Wu Yan didn't know what Kinohada Sayai was thinking, he himself couldn't hold it in any longer. Not to mention the problem of whether others can hold it in or not, he directly pounded the conflicted Kinohada Sayai into a daze. A long moan came from Kinohada Sayai, who was still conflicted a second ago. Kinohada Sayai was overjoyed because that fatal sense of emptiness has been alleviated by Wu Yan's actions. And this long groan is also the signal to start the battle. After the long groan, the sound of flesh colliding, accompanied by loud and small groans, began to resound. Chapter 294. Hugging Kinohada Sayai's soft body, listening to Kinohada Sayai's soft moans, smelling Kinohada Sayai's sweaty scent, enjoying every part of Kinohada Sayai's body, Wu Yan moved his body and closed his eyes in satisfaction. In the entire space, Wu Yan's two favorite sounds echoed. One is the most pleasant moans from the girl's mouth, the other is the slapping sounds from the thrusting of the body. No matter how long he listens to it, Wu Yan feels that he can't get enough of it. Wu Yan is feeling one thing, Kinohada Sayai is feeling another. She heard her own sounds. Wu Yan felt pleasure, but she felt embarrassed. She also heard the sounds of the thrusting of the body. When Wu Yan felt pleasure, she also felt pleasure, but she was also gritting her teeth. Kinohada Sayai isn't as shameless as Wu Yan. As a girl, even if Kinohada Sayai is a bit tough, she would still feel embarrassed. Kinohada Sayai couldn't believe that such sounds would come out of her mouth. Kinohada Sayai kept trying to stop her sounds, but with Wu Yan's thrusting, the electric current that came from the deepest part of her body made her unable to control her mouth. In the end, she couldn't stop moaning. Kinohada Sayai almost lost her soul when she experienced the feeling of love for the first time. Her rationality has already left her brain. At this moment, Kinohada Sayai feels that she is no longer herself. However, Kinohada Sayai didn't deny it. At this moment, she is indeed the most comfortable. However, Kinohada Sayai also didn't try to hide her embarrassment. Her face is red, half of it is because of the pleasure, the other half is because of the shame. Kinohada Sayai has never hated her helplessness like today. Being abducted, Kinohada Sayai can accept it. Being pushed, Kinohada Sayai can accept it, but this embarrassing position, Kinohada Sayai can't accept it no matter what. Lying on the bed, Kinohada Sayai's hand subconsciously grabbed onto the blanket. Looking at the blanket in front of her and feeling the impact on her back, Kinohada Sayai's heart was once again filled with tears. Can we make a deal? Let's change positions. This sentence, Kinohada Sayai wanted to say it countless times, but every time it reached her throat, it would be squeezed away by a moan. In the end, Kinohada Sayai maintained this embarrassing position for almost half an hour. She was also embarrassed for almost half an hour. Even though Kinohara Sai no longer had any sense of rationality in her mind, she still retained her sense of shame. Thus, under the influence of this shame, Kinohara Sai quickly exploded. After letting out a long cry, Kinohara Sai's nerves also snapped, her skin flushed crimson red. Kinohara Sai lost the last bit of strength she had to support herself and collapsed on the ground, unable to get up anymore. Wu Yan furrowed his brows and sighed helplessly. His expression is one of exasperation for not living up to his expectations. Grumbling in his heart, Wu Yan followed Kinohara Sai's collapsed body and laid on top of her, using his body to tell Kinohara Sai, he is still not satisfied. In Kinohara Sai's eyes, the little bit of consciousness that had just returned to her, upon sensing Wu Yan's actions, a trace of panic flashed across her eyes. Before she could say anything, Wu Yan once again entered her body and made her sing. At this moment, in this space, other than the sound of Kinohara Sai's moans and the sound of the bed colliding against each other, there was finally another sound, and that was the sound of the bed being unable to bear the weight. This sound undoubtedly added to the fun, causing Wu Yan's movements to become even more violent. This also caused Kinohara Sai to feel hatred. This bed is too weak. Very soon, Kinohara Sai was also unable to bear the weight like the bed. She let out a long whimper, her body tensed up again. Kinohara Sai welcomed her second climax of the day. However, just like before she could catch her breath, Kinohara Sai was once again manipulated by Wu Yan. Kinohara Sai was completely flustered. Her pair of eyes were filled with endless tears. She looked at Wu Yan charmingly and moaned, You're still going. As for the question of, are you going to come or not, Wu Yan answered her straightforwardly. Following the movement of his body, help. 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 For the nth time, Kinohara Sai's heart was filled with tears. In the past, she was still full of confidence in her endurance. After all, in order to complement her nitrogen armor ability, Kinohara Sai trained her body quite a bit. But this time, under the actions of the beast behind her, Kinohara Sai felt that her previous confidence was nothing in front of this guy. Indeed, no matter how much Kinohara Sai trained, in terms of physical strength, compared to the true ancestor, she is nothing but trash. Thus, in the midst of Kinohara Sai's soft moans and begging for mercy, a new battle started once again. Kinohara Sai could only close her eyes and silently pray, My body is no longer youthful, I hope you can persevere. Suddenly, in this space where there were only 3 sounds, another sound rang out. However, it was different from the previous 3 sounds. This sound was very short, but it attracted the attention of Lei Feng and Lei Feng. Because that's the sound of the room door being opened. Subconsciously stopping their movements, Wu Yan and the panting Kinohara Sai reflexively looked towards the door. With one look, both of them were stunned. Frenda. Takitsubu. Kinohara Sai's exclamation revealed the reason why the door was opened. However, this reason caused the 2 of them who were still in the most intimate position to be stunned. Frenda and Takitsubu Riku stood at the door and stared at the 2 of them. Their expressions didn't change at all, as if the other party wasn't doing something shameful but was playing a game of chess. The 2 of them who were in a daze didn't notice that Frenda and Takitsubu Riku's eyes have lost their luster. Kinohara Sai was the first to react. Looking at her 2 best friends standing at the door, Kinohara Sai's face instantly turned red, the shame in her heart suddenly exploded. Yua. Letting out a loud cry, Kinohara Sai covered her face with both hands. Her body started to twist and turn, trying to escape from Wu Yan's control. Her embarrassed and angry voice came out from the gaps between her fingers, You. Frenda, Takitsubu, don't look, super don't look. Kinohara Sai's voice didn't manage to get Frenda and Takitsubu Riku to leave. Instead, it woke Wu Yan up. Wu Yan, who came back to his senses, stared blankly at Frenda and Takitsubu Riku, who were standing at the door. Feeling his own desire on Kinohara Sai's body, Wu Yan's heart actually burst with excitement. And so, Wu Yan, his body became erect. All of Kinohara Sai's shame turned into moans. Kinohara Sai couldn't believe that her body started to move again, she almost cried. Sure enough, this guy is a super *******. Unable to stop moaning, Kinohara Sai couldn't bear to imagine herself at this moment. She only knows that she's done for, she won't dare to show her face to anyone anymore. However, Kinohara Sai didn't expect that in the end. The one who doesn't dare to show her face isn't her, but Frenda and Takitsubu Riku, who barged into this loving little red room. The familiar sound of the door closing rang again. Wu Yan's movement stopped once more. Kinohara Sai, who didn't know what happened, also opened her fingers and looked over. In the end, the scene that entered their eyes made the man and woman stunned again. Frenda and Takitsubu Riku didn't leave. Instead, they closed the door and entered the room. That's not all. The two women stared blankly at Wu Yan and Kinohara Sai. Then, in front of Wu Yan and Kinohara Sai's gaze, they started to take off their clothes. Kinohara Sai was stunned, so was Wu Yan. At the same time, he was also stunned. Could it be that today is the day to break the record? Flying 3. Chapter 295. As a petite figure that is smaller than Kinohara Sai and a voluptuous figure appeared in front of Wu Yan and Kinohara Sai's eyes, they finally realized, this time, it's too late. This isn't the first time Wu Yan has seen these three figures in their nude state. Not only that, he's seen them in this state almost every day. Those three photos of Kinohara Sai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku are still in his space ring. He takes them out to admire them twice a day. However, this is the second time he is seeing them in real life. This time, it's much more exciting than the previous time. After all, the previous time, he was just taking advantage of her, but this time, Kinohara Sai is still underneath him. Kinohara Sai felt that all the surprises in her life had been used up today. Her worldview had been completely destroyed in just one day. Looking at her two best friends walking towards her after taking off all their clothes, Kinohara Sai's mind was in a complete mess. Wait. Super wait for me. Kinohara Sai squeezed out all the energy she had stored up for tomorrow. Like a dying flash of light, she bounced up from her bed, giving Wu Yan a fright. However, Kinohara Sai didn't have the heart to care about Wu Yan. Seeing that Frenda and Takitsubu Riku were not listening to her and were slowly walking towards them, Kinohara Sai was on the verge of breaking down. She screamed hysterically. What are you guys super doing? Do you guys super know what you are doing? You guys are super crazy. Kinohara Sai is only one step away from adding a nitrogen armor to her fist and giving herself a punch. Seeing Frenda and Takitsubu Riku stripping naked and walking towards the two who are having pa, anyone would think that they are going to participate in this. Even if logic tells Kinohara Sai that with her two best friends, such a thing is impossible, absolutely impossible. But looking at the current situation, she has no choice but to believe it. Super wait for me, did you guys not hear me? As the two girls continued to approach as if they didn't hear anything, Kinohara Sai finally broke down. With her two small fists covered in nitrogen armor, Kinohara Sai's exhausted body actually jumped up from the bed as though she was possessed by King Kong Hercules. Kinohara Sai only wanted to use her ability to destroy everything in front of her, to relieve her current bad mood. However, before she could jump halfway, she was directly carried into the arms of a certain evil wolf who was scheming. As her body was pulled into his embrace, Kinohara Sai subconsciously punched him. However, in the next second, her fist trembled as all her strength was sucked out. Kinohara Sai's eyes widened as she felt that familiar hard object once again break through her barrier and enter her body. Kinohara Sai cried, "Woo, what time is it now?" You're still. Kinohara Sai didn't get to finish her sentence because her petite body was being tossed around by Wu Yan at a speed never seen in her entire life. Kinohara Sai was on the verge of swallowing the last bit of life she had left. Doing pa with someone else in front of her best friend was so exciting. Kinohara Sai had never thought that she would be treated like this one day. On the other hand, Wu Yan was completely immersed in his excitement. If it was the usual Wu Yan, he might be able to see something from Frenda and Takitsubu Riku's actions. But right now, Wu Yan is in the middle of his lovemaking. Thus, Wu Yan's IQ dropped without limit. Tossing her petite body, Wu Yan looked at Frenda and Takitsubu Riku who were already in front of him. He reached out an arm, hugged Frenda's petite body and pulled her down. No. Wu. I can't, Kinuhada Sai screamed with all her might, begging, Wu. Wu. Like this. Really. Wu. I can't, ignoring Kinuhada Sai's pleading. Wu Yan continued tossing Kinuhada Sai's body with one hand while caressing Frenda's body with the other. Soon, Frenda's body started to blush. After caressing Frenda's perky butt, Wu Yan placed Kinuhada Sai on top of her. Ignoring Kinuhada Sai's body, he placed Frenda's body on top of Kinuhada Sai's, overlapping them. You. What are you trying to do? Kinuhada Sai's eyes started to lose focus. She already guessed Wu Yan's plan, but it's because she guessed it that Kinuhada Sai asked. She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that her first time turned out to be so exciting. When Frenda's body was on top of her, Kinuhada Sai's mind went blank. She subconsciously hugged Frenda. Kinuhada Sai wanted to scold Frenda, but Wu Yan's relentless thrust stopped her from doing so. Looking at Frenda's face, Kinuhada Sai finally realized that Frenda's eyes were devoid of any light. Realizing that this matter isn't as simple as it seems, Kinuhada Sai grabbed onto Wu Yan like a life-saving straw, hoping that he would listen to her. But, this is another hopeless wish. With a long thrust, Wu Yan entered Frenda, who was on top of Kinuhada Sai. Frenda, who was moving around like a doll, let out a whimper. After that whimper, Frenda's blue eyes finally regained some light. But, if possible, Frenda would rather not recover. Frenda has been maintaining her consciousness, but for some reason, she couldn't control her body. In her mind, she watched herself and Takitsubu Riku being naked and entering this forbidden place. Frenda only had one thought in her mind, and that is, I should just die. This thought, when Frenda saw herself being carried by Wu Yan and placed on top of Kinuhada Sai's body, it became even more intense. Realizing what was going to happen in the next second, in the last second before she could no longer control her body, Frenda let out a hateful cry from the depths of her heart. Shokuho Misaki. I hate you. In the next second, Frenda felt her body being forcefully penetrated, then she regained control of her body. Her blue eyes regained some light and met with Kinuhada Sai's eyes. The two of them stared at each other, but the expression in their eyes was one of shame and anger. The sudden, divine opening made Wu Yan's face as wide as a hippopotamus. A satisfied smile hung on his face. Wu Yan looked at the two lowly girls lying in front of him. He almost couldn't hold back his laughter. How long has it been since I last had this kind of treatment? Sure enough, being a transmigrator is so satisfying. One moment Frenda, the next Kinuhada Sai. Wu Yan didn't want to talk anymore, and in fact, he really didn't want to talk anymore. Wu Yan just wanted to enjoy himself before he leaves this world. Although he used to enjoy himself almost every day, today, he enjoyed himself a lot. The two lowly girls who were looking at each other helplessly started moaning in front of each other. They were so close to each other that they started moaning in front of each other. Kinuhada Sai and Frenda both had an expression of wanting to cry, but no tears came out. Too embarrassed to look at each other, they could only close their eyes. However, after moaning, the fragrance from their mouths still hit each other's faces, telling them that this is all real. Just like that, Frenda and Kinuhada Sai started living the most unbearable day in their hearts, including Takitsubu Riku, who is still standing on the side. She still hasn't broken free from the control, but she still has her own consciousness and witnessed everything with her own eyes. Chapter 296. Heavy, very heavy. This was the first thought that flashed through Wu Yan's mind after he lifted Takitsubu Riku's breasts. It's as heavy as Ikaros, it's as heavy as Shokuhu Xian, but it's different from Ikaros and Shokuhu Xian's. Wu Yan couldn't quite wrap his head around this strange feeling. He's also surprised by it. What kind of person is Wu Yan now? To put it simply, Wu Yan is no longer human. After all, he is now a true ancestor. In addition to the strong vitality and recovery ability of a true ancestor, they also have a very prominent characteristic. That is their physical strength. This is to be expected. After all, a true ancestor is in existence at the top of the life chain. How can their physical strength be weak? It might be a bit of an exaggeration to say that he can split mountains and earth, but that's it. With this kind of strength, although lifting a pair of breasts is abnormal, it is undoubtedly a world of difference compared to the so-called splitting mountains and earth. It actually made Wu Yan feel heavy. Wu Yan also knows that this weight is different from normal weight. But this doesn't stop Wu Yan from liking this pair of breasts. Takitsubo Riku still has a blank look on her face. Of course, this is only on the surface. In the depths of her heart, the consciousness that saw her being teased by Wu Yan is extremely embarrassed. If Takitsubo Riku could still control her body, her face would be completely red by now. Shame is an understatement to describe the current situation. Takitsubo Riku is one of them. Kinohara Sayai and Frenda, who are still lying on top of each other under Wu Yan's body, are the other two. Things have already developed to this point. Whether it is Kinohara Sayai or Frenda, they have already accepted their fate and threw away all the emotions in their hearts to endure everything that Wu Yan has brought to them. The result of this is that Kinohara Sayai, who has already reached her peak many times, is now lying on the ground like a dead pig. As for Frenda, although she came later, her situation is similar. After all, no matter how strong she is still just a lowly. After pushing Frenda to her limit again, Wu Yan took a deep breath to suppress the restlessness in his heart. Listening to Frenda's long moans, he gently placed her beside the exhausted Kinohara Sayai. At the same time, he tightened his grip on Takitsubo Riku's breasts. Takitsubo Riku didn't react at all, as if she didn't care about Wu Yan's actions. However, within those dead eyes, a layer of ripples suddenly bloomed. Her skin slowly turned red, proving that Takitsubo Riku isn't completely emotionless. Of course Takitsubo Riku can feel it. Although she has lost control of her body, her senses are still there. Taking a glance at Kinohara Sayai and Frenda, who are panting like dead dogs, Takitsubo Riku's heart is filled with an inexplicable sense of fear and anticipation. Just like Kinohara Sayai and Frenda, Takitsubo Riku knew from the day she was kidnapped by Wu Yan that this day would come sooner or later. With Wu Yan's personality, Takitsubo Riku even thought that this day came a little late. Before this, she always thought that Wu Yan would eat them on the first day of their arrival. She didn't expect this day to be delayed. Takitsubo Riku couldn't help but wonder if Wu Yan wanted them from Yujino Shizuri, not because he wanted to eat them like Kinohara Sayai said, but because he had other motives. If Takitsubo Riku knew that among the three of them, Frenda was eaten on the first night, she wouldn't think this way, and now, this day has finally come. Although it was a result of someone with ulterior motives, Takitsubo Riku can't help but feel a little hopeful. Towards something like this. After all, back then, Takitsubo Riku was different from Kinohara Sayai and Frenda. When she followed Wu Yan, Kinohara Sayai was half forced and Frenda was half threatened. The reason why she was half forced and half threatened was because of Kinohara Sayai and Frenda. Frenda was a little too timid, but if Kinohara Sayai really didn't want to follow Wu Yan, then even if Wu Yan was serious, she wouldn't have compromised. It can only be said that after that day at the lab, everything that Wu Yan did to Kinohara Sayai and Frenda has left a faint shadow in their hearts, just like Takitsubo Riku. After all, before this, they were still pure and innocent girls. That's why under Wu Yan's half-forced and half-threatened situation, the two girls subconsciously didn't resist. They just wanted to give it a try and were basically abducted. But Takitsubo Riku is the only one among the three who volunteered. Compared to Kinohara Sayai and Frenda, who can only leave a faint shadow, Takitsubo Riku left a deep impression in her heart. Especially after the incident with Kikin Taidaku, her impression of Wu Yan exploded. That's why she volunteered. It's just that, as a normal girl, Takitsubo Riku is still a little scared of her first time. When Wu Yan hugged Takitsubo Riku and pressured her with his great spear, this fear intensified. Takitsubo Riku wanted to say something, but her body is being controlled, she can't move. Seeing that the great spear is about to reach the city gate, Takitsubo Riku couldn't help but shout the exact same words that Frenda shouted in her heart. Shokuho Shin. I hate you. The moment he finished his thought, a hapuchi sound was heard as well. A soft groan came out from Takitsubo Riku's mouth. At the same time, it means that she has regained control of her body. Her eyes that have regained their vigor stared at Wu Yan's face. Takitsubo Riku clenched her teeth and endured the pain. But her deeply furrowed brows let Wu Yan know that it's not that she doesn't feel pain. Grabbing Wu Yan's shoulders tightly with both hands and wrapping her legs around Wu Yan's waist, Takitsubo Riku softly moaned and said softly, "Please. Please be gentler." Wu Yan put on a hearty smile, causing Takitsubo Riku's heart to thump. At the same time, Kinohada Sai and Frenda, who have regained some of their strength, wanted to punch that evil smiling face. Takitsubo Riku's eyes were blinded, so she couldn't see Wu Yan's intention. But Kinohada Sai and Frenda saw through it. That's obviously a proud smile. After happily licking Takitsubo Riku's breasts that Wu Yan couldn't stop praising, Wu Yan held one of Takitsubo Riku's breasts with one hand and her breasts with the other. Then, he began the action that he did the most today. Takitsubo Riku's moans were released by Wu Yan's actions. Not long after, Kinohada Sai and Frenda's moans followed suit. In this space, it's like a symphony, causing ripples in the air. Outside the door, Shokuhu Xianxia's face blushed as she listened to the sounds coming from the room. After all, she sang the same song this morning. Listening to the three different voices, Shokuhu Xianxia's eyes flashed with embarrassment and anger. Based on her understanding of Wu Yan, these three girls are definitely being targeted by him. Shokuhu Xianxia's only wish is for that day to come earlier. Sighing softly, Shokuhu Xianxia's eyes were filled with anger as she said softly, "You got off too easy." The more she thought about it, the more she felt it wasn't worth it. At the same time, she was pissed at herself. What the hell is wrong with her to care about something like this? Her starry eyes looked towards Mikoto's room. She rolled her eyes, a sly glint flashed in her eyes. Her lips curled into a cold smile. "No, I can't let that bastard get away so easily. At least, I can't let him get away so easily." Chapter 297. Academy City, School District 7, Wu Yan's home. The room that had been filled with intimate sounds for the entire day was now completely silent except for a few light panting sounds. Wu Yan is lying straight on his pillow with a face like a spring breeze. It's easy to see how comfortable Wu Yan is right now. Kinohada Sai's petite body is lying behind him. Frenda is lying on Wu Yan's left side while Takitsubo Riku, who has the best figure, is being hugged by Wu Yan and placed on top of him. This scene tells everyone what happened here. Feeling Takitsubo Riku's soft breasts pressing against his chest, even if Wu Yan doesn't smoke, he can't help but want to light one up. It's only now that Wu Yan recalled what happened with Ripple, he felt that something was wrong. Towards Frenda and Takitsubo Riku's previous behavior, whether it's what he saw on the screen or what he got to know about the two girls during this period of time, Wu Yan has a feeling that the two girls wouldn't do something like him naked and willingly join Ripple's battle. With their personalities, they wouldn't do such a thing. Just by thinking about Frenda and Takitsubo Riku's previous behavior and the situation in this room, you can understand what's going on. After all, Wu Yan isn't a bulldozer that doesn't know how to use his brain, you are. It's because he thought of the reason for this that Wu Yan was stunned. It can't be, right? With Her Majesty's personality, would she help me expand the Crystal Palace? That's impossible, she's Her Majesty. Wu Yan thought he understood Shokuhu Sasuke very well, but he didn't think that if Shokuhu Sasuke could see through his little scheme, with her personality, it's not impossible for her to do something like this. And when something like this happens, it means that Her Majesty is going to scam someone. Wu Yan didn't expect this, that's why he ended up in tragedy. Wu Yan didn't want to think about it since he can't figure out why. He just kept this matter in his heart and decided to ask Shokuhu Xian about it. Wu Yan shook his head, closed his eyes and fell asleep. At the same time, in another room, Chuju, Mikoto, Astria, Shokuhu Xian, and Ikaros, who was hugging a sleeping Flandre-chan, slowly walked out. The girls had different expressions on their faces. Astria's face was filled with embarrassment and anger. Ikaros's face was expressionless. Chuju and Mikoto had their heads lowered. Only Shokuhu Xian had a faint smile on her face. Everyone's gaze landed on the same room after they walked out of the room. That room is Wu Yan's room. Chuju and Mikoto looked around the living room. When they didn't see Wu Yan, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, their faces darkened even more. A dense aura surrounded them. Even Astria took a few steps back in fear. The room was silent. After a while, Chuju and Mikoto took the lead and walked towards Wu Yan's room. Astria, Ikaros, and Shokuhu Xian followed behind. When Wu Yan's consciousness returned to his head, Wu Yan let out a light sigh. He opened his eyes and sat up from his bed. After a good night's sleep, Wu Yan felt his bones going soft. Stretching lazily, Wu Yan's sleepy eyes slowly regained their usual vigor. However, when Wu Yan saw the scene in front of him, he froze on the spot. His entire body stiffened like a rock. His pair of wine-red eyes were in a state of stupor. Looking at the scene in his room, Wu Yan thought he was dreaming. Chuju and Mikoto, one on the left and one on the right, stood in front of his bed. They were looking at him with a faint sneer on their face. Their eyes were burning with rage. Astria looked at Wu Yan like she's looking at a scumbag. Ikaros didn't know what to do with Wu Yan, who just woke up. She wanted to say something but she couldn't. She lowered her head and hugged Flanderchan's sleeping body. Shokuhu Sasuke had a smile in her eyes as if she's watching something interesting. Wu Yan shuddered. Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku left their beds at some point in time. They're all neatly dressed but they're standing behind the group without saying a word. Only Wu Yan could see that Kinohada Sayai and Frenda were looking at Wu Yan with an inexplicable expression. They seemed to be taking pleasure in his misfortune. Takitsubu Riku looked at Wu Yan as if she was mourning for him. Her eyes were filled with pity. Wu Yan's expression changed rapidly as he looked at the different expressions of the women in front of him. Sometimes it was green, sometimes it was white, sometimes it was red, sometimes it was as dark as the bottom of a pot. It was complicated to the extreme. His heart felt like it was being trampled by 100 million alpacas. That heart of his was just a second ago was trampled on like a piece of scrap metal. There are no words in this world that can describe what he's feeling right now. Suddenly, Chuju smiled. Her smile was bright and beautiful. Looking at that smile, Wu Yan's heart skipped a beat. Hey, Yan, Chuju looked at Wu Yan and said with a smile. I remember you exchanged for a true ancestor bloodline and transformed yourself into a true ancestor vampire, right? Wu Yan felt a sense of danger in his heart. Wu Yan almost ran away. Wu Yan resisted the urge to run and forced a smile. Ha, yeah, what's wrong? This time, it's Mikoto's turn to smile. With a sweet smile on her face, Mikoto casually said something that made Wu Yan fall into complete despair. Ha, that's great. This way, no matter how I play with you, you won't break. As soon as she said that, the electricity started to flow around Mikoto's body. At the same time, small cherry blossoms started to appear out of thin air and curl around Hinajiku's palm. Looking at the scene in front of him, Wu Yan fell silent. Wu Yan, who has guessed the situation, pretty much knows that begging for mercy has become a luxury. Thus, he could only lower his head and close his eyes as if accepting his fate. Raising his head, Wu Yan raised his voice and yelled out the final line of this world that is the most classic line ever uttered in this world. What a misfortune. What followed was a thick blue-white lightning and a crystal sword that cut through the atmosphere. Astria, Ikaros, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku all left the room. 3 of them returned to their rooms satisfied with Mikoto's misfortune. 2 of them couldn't bear to watch any longer, so they left. After a while, Hinajiku and Mikoto angrily left the room that was filled with the smell that made them blush. They didn't even close the door and left. Only Wu Yan was left sitting on the bed with a gloomy face. Although he was not injured at all, from his wine-red eyes that were filled with sorrow, it could be seen that the experience just now was definitely unforgettable. As a true ancestor, Wu Yan was both lucky and unlucky. At the very least, there were some unforgettable memories that were deeply engraved in his mind. Shokuhu Miyabi giggled as she walked up to Wu Yan. She lightly touched his face with her white-gloved hand. The Crystal Palace isn't that easy to open. You have to restrain yourself in the future. Dear love, looking at the sweet smile on the face of the queen who caused his surname to be Fu, and caused his tragedy, Wu Yan's heart was filled with tears. Chapter 298. That's how it is. In the living room, Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, Shokuhu Misaki, Astria, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, 1 man and 8 women gathered in the living room. Wu Yan stood out like a sore thumb among the flowers. Wu Yan raised his hand meekly after looking at the women who are staring at him with different expressions. After all, the scene of the divine retribution is still fresh in his mind. Chuju narrowed her eyes and glared at Wu Yan. Wu Yan felt goosebumps all over his body. Chuju humphed coldly and turned her head away. I have no objections. A pair of brown eyes stared at Wu Yan's face. Mikoto gritted her teeth and stood up. She stomped in front of Wu Yan and grabbed his ear. Ignoring the pained expression on Wu Yan's face, she pressed her lips against Wu Yan's ear and yelled. If there's a next time, you're dead. The powerful sound wave assaulted Wu Yan's eardrums. Wu Yan's eyes rolled back and he started foaming at the mouth. He almost started bleeding from his orifices. When he came back to his senses, Wu Yan quickly shouted. I know. It won't happen again. Mikoto unwillingly let go of Wu Yan's ear and stomped her feet angrily before walking back to her seat. Wu Yan helplessly touched his ear and sighed. Who can he blame? Who can he blame for opening the Crystal Palace and receiving retribution? At the same time, Wu Yan was laughing inside. Yeah, it won't happen again. There won't be so many people like this time. Chuju, Mikoto, you guys are too sweet. Wu Yan, who was laughing inside, quickly met Shokuhu Misaki's smiling eyes. When she saw Wu Yan looking over, Shokuhu Misaki curled her lips into a meaningful smile. This surprised Wu Yan. He quickly put away his little abacus and his smile turned into a bitter one. Judging from Her Majesty's expression, there was an 80% chance that she had seen through his thoughts. As expected, he might be able to deceive others with his tricks, but it would be strange if he could deceive Her Majesty. If he didn't have an electromagnetic barrier around him, Wu Yan would have thought that Shokuhu Misaki's ability could already work on him. Sometimes, Jusama is the scariest of all. While Wu Yan was avoiding Shokuhu Misaki's gaze, Mikoto returned to her seat. She patted her cheeks and said after some thought. Since the sisters are saved, after we leave, the world will stop moving. I don't have to worry about my family's situation. I have no objections to leaving this world. Astria immediately raised her hand. Yes. Astria has no objections as well. Ikaros looked at Wu Yan without saying anything. No one asked her anything. Even the newcomer Shokuhu Misaki could see that Ikaros is completely following Wu Yan's lead, let alone the other girls. Shokuhu Misaki caressed her cheeks and smiled. Then, she said something that gave Wu Yan a headache. I also want to see the stage where Misaka-san can show off her skills. After that, Shokuhu Misaki's starry eyes looked at Mikoto, and Mikoto happened to look at Shokuhu Misaki as well. Their starry eyes met, and the audience could almost see the intense electric current in their eyes, colliding with each other, sparks flying everywhere. Wu Yan's mouth twitched, he felt a little sad. The journey from here on out won't be peaceful. Wu Yan wasn't the only one who had the same thought. Chuju also had a headache. She sighed and glared at Wu Yan. This is all because of this bastard who randomly opened the Crystal Palace. Under Kaishu-sama's piercing gaze, Wu Yan's mouth twitched even more. Once again, the journey from here on out won't be peaceful. Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku couldn't stay calm. Especially under the gaze of everyone else, they felt even more uneasy. Wu Yan looked at the 3 girls seriously and said in a serious tone. Alright, it's time for you to make a choice. Aiko, Frenda, Riku, what's your decision? 2 consecutive pet names made Kinohada Sayai and Takitsubu Riku feel dizzy. Although this wasn't the first time they were called this was the second time. Furthermore, the last time, it was a joke. This time, it was very serious, causing the two girls to feel a little uncomfortable. As for Frenda, she was dissatisfied. Why am I still using my original name? Under everyone's gaze, Takitsubu Riku lowered her head and raised two of her fingers. She started to play with them. After a long while, she spoke softly. I don't have any objections. In Academy City, Takitsubu Riku didn't have any relatives or friends. In fact, in the entire Academy City, other than Mujino Shizuri, Kinohada Sayai, and Frenda, she didn't know anyone else. Now that Kinohada Sayai and Frenda are here, Takitsubu Riku is more afraid of Mujino Shizuri. Unlike Kinohada Sayai and Frenda, Takitsubu Riku doesn't feel like she's a comrade. Takitsubu Riku doesn't have anything to miss about Academy City. Kinohada Sayai and Frenda are in the same situation as Takitsubu Riku. Originally, they shouldn't care about it, but for the people they follow, they care a lot. Abduction, rape, in just a few days, the two girls were devoured by Wu Yan, the big bad wolf. Towards Wu Yan, they don't hate Wu Yan. After all, what Wu Yan did was despicable, but the two girls can't bring themselves to hate him. However, they are unwilling to accept it. That's why they are unwilling to accept it. In such a mood, the two girls really wanted to refuse. But who would have thought that Takitsubu Riku would agree? This softened the hearts of the two girls that had hardened with great difficulty. Frenda glanced at Takitsubu Riku and sighed dejectedly. She felt as if she and Takitsubu Riku shared a life as she replied helplessly. In the end, I didn't have any objections. As if the straw that broke the camel's back, Kinohada Sayai also felt helpless. She no longer hesitated. Since she has nothing to miss in Academy City, she might as well leave. Up to you guys. When Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, Takitsubu Riku, and Shokuhu Misaki all agreed to leave this world, the cold mechanical voice of the system rang out. Dungeon World, Magic Catalog. Dungeon Mission, Rescue. Mission 1, Save 20,000 Misaka Sisters. Revive all the dead sisters and heal all the Misaka sisters who are still alive. Collect all 20,000 Misaka sisters and store them in the biocontainment device. Completed. Mission Reward, Equipment Points, Item Points, Ability Points, Summoning Points, 100,000 each. Mission 2, Defeat the strongest Esper in Academy City. Accelerator, completed. Mission Reward, randomly summon a character. Mission 3, seduce at least 3 characters from this dungeon world and have them willingly follow you out of this world. Completed. Mission Reward, summon a character that meets the requirements of Mission 3 for free. Hearing the system's voice, Wu Yan had mixed feelings. He was happy because he completed Mission 3. As for his sadness, it's not really that bad. It's just a little bit of regret. After all, Mission 3 only requires him to be at least 3 characters, there's no upper limit. He only exceeded the requirement by 1. How disappointing, Mikoto suddenly asked Wu Yan. Right, Yan, if we can leave like this, what about the sisters? Wu Yan put away the regret in his heart and sighed. Since the sisters can be said to be the same existence, even if there are a lot of them, there's no need to summon them one by one. You can use 100,000 summoning points to summon all of them, so there's no need to worry. Hearing this, all the women nodded. Chapter 299. Pedestrians come and go, cars stop here and there. While the people of Academy City are living their normal lives, they don't know that in Academy City, being normal is always a luxury. As for those people who lived lives that they believed to be extraordinary, they did not know that the ordinary world that they were living in had become even more extraordinary due to the arrival of a certain someone. They also didn't know that the person who made this extraordinary world even more extraordinary was about to leave this seemingly ordinary world and return this world to its ordinary state. Standing on the rooftop of a skyscraper, Wu Yan seriously observed everything in Academy City. There's an indescribable feeling in his heart. After all, if you don't look at the dark side of Academy City, on the surface, Academy City looks just like a peaceful developed city. Mikoto and Shokuhu Misaki have already returned to Tokuwadai. Mikoto is going to meet up with Kuriko, Uiharu, Ruko, and the others. After all, after leaving this time, who knows when she'll come back next time. As for Shokuhu Misaki, maybe she'll go back and take a look at the Tokuwadai before she left. Looking around at the bustling Academy City, Wu Yan took a deep breath and said goodbye to this Academy City that he's been living in for quite some time. At this time, Wu Yan couldn't help but think about the friends he's made over this period of time. What are they doing now? Kuriko, Uiharu, Ruko, they're probably following Mikoto around. What's that girl that the system, tacitly, allowed him to flirt with when he first arrived in this world doing now? There's also Kanori Miwe who he met once, she's probably in the branch office right now. There's also Mujino Shizuri, she probably doesn't know that he's about to bring her 3 subordinates out of this world. Maybe the next time he comes back, Kinohata Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku will be stronger than her. At that time, Mujino Shizuri will probably go crazy. There's also that group of Tokuwadai ladies who chased after me for 9 blocks. They probably don't know that the 2 lords they look forward to the most are about to accompany me. What was Tsuchimikado Motoharu doing? There was also Danshi, who feared him like a tiger, and Itsali, who had a crush on Mikoto. What were they doing? What is Divine Rendhul Weaver doing at this time? Also, Alistair, I was, Accelerator's final work. Unknowingly, the people that she could only see on the screen before had now become acquainted with so many people. Everything felt like a dream. Wu Yan stared at Academy City in a daze. He suddenly felt a sense of reluctance. In this world, there were still many people he hadn't gotten to know, people he could only see on the screen. If he had the chance to come back next time, he would definitely go and get to know him. Thinking up to here, Wu Yan smiled. The airship in the sky that never landed also flew over Wu Yan's head. Seeing this, Wu Yan's eyes turned and suddenly, he had an impulse. Pedestrians were still coming and going, and cars were still going and stopping. Under this unchanging scene, the floating airship suddenly trembled, and an elegant bell rang out from an unknown corner of the airship. Then, it attracted the attention of everyone in Academy City. When the bell sound stopped, everyone in Academy City was already attracted to it. At this time, the airship that used to only sound like a machine suddenly let out a voice that clearly belonged to a stranger. Everyone in Academy City. Hello everyone. When this voice came, a lot of people in Academy City were stunned. Among them, there was Mikoto, Kuriko, Uiharu, Ruko, Shokuhu Misaki, and Wu Yan's girls. Because this voice was Wu Yan's voice. I'm really sorry, everyone in Academy City. I want to apologize, not only for disturbing everyone here, but also because I am about to kidnap your electroshock princess, Misaka Mikoto. Everyone in Academy City was stunned. Before they could react, the owner of the voice spoke again. As the saying goes, a Academy City without Sis Cannon is not a good Academy City. So, as I am about to kidnap Sis Cannon, I can only apologize to everyone. Here, I would like to dedicate a song to the Scientific Academy City and the Scientific Railgun. Let go of the dream engraved in my heart, even if I have to abandon the future. I don't care about boundaries, they mean nothing to me. This power turned the unreachable longing into a bright light. If the path I've walked until now only allows me to wallow in the past, why not destroy everything in front of me? Fall into the dark streets, where will the people walk? The increasing pain will make me protect someone. Look! Lightning circled the entire planet, trying to find a way out. Only my railgun can shoot it down. Right now. Let the real premonition be in the depths of my heart. Travel back and forth at the speed of light. If this is all that you desire, then grasp it with one hand in the name of radiance. I've always believed in the vow you made to me that day. Even the sparkling hot tears in his eyes would one day turn into his own strength. Once I stop, I will feel a little sad. I've never been lost, that's not a lie. The coins flying in the air depict the fate of the parabola. The answer that's on the verge of being revealed today also makes my heart burn with passion. Shine. The dazzling light awakens the true longing. Only my railgun can shoot it down. I will carry it out to the end and never back down. Even if I'm covered in wounds, I will continue forward. Aim at the darkness with my cold and shining eyes and tear it apart with precision. The so-called confusion will be dispelled in one fell swoop. As long as this heart is still calling out to me, I will not let anyone be my obstacle. Countless wishes are dancing in the air, accumulating in my hands. Glimpses can be seen in the torn darkness. Deep and heavy sorrowful memories. Despair wavered in the fading reality. I will never yield to it. Right now, I'll bet my existence. Stick out my chest. Be proud of everything I have. Look. Lightning is circling the entire planet, trying to find a way out. Only my railgun can shoot it down. Right now. Let the real premonition be in the depths of my heart. Travel back and forth at the speed of light. Let go of the dream engraved in my heart, even if I have to abandon the future. I don't care about boundaries, it's meaningless to me. This power turns the unreachable longing into a dazzling light. What is that idiot doing on a business street? Mikoto's face is red, steam is coming out from her head. It's obvious that she's embarrassed to the extreme. Ueharu and Ruko are covering their mouths in shock. Listening to the confession-like song, they can't help but be immersed in it. Kuriko's mouth is opening and closing, her face is blank, her whole body is gray. Listening to the song, Kuriko mutters. I've lost, completely lost, as she mutters, her eyes are filled with tears. Turning around to look at Mikoto, Kuriko's tears are about to collapse. Yua. Wani-sama. Yua, my Wani-sama was really taken away, this isn't real, Yua. Wa Kuriko. What are you doing? Let go of me. Wani-sama. Don't leave me. Yua. Let go of me. Wani-sama, my Wani-sama. At the same time, in Tokuwadai, Shokuhu Misaki coldly snorted and turned her head away, not saying anything. Chuju and Kinohada Sai also did the same at home. In the windowless building, Alistair quietly looked at the screen in front of him. Looking at the noisy academy city, he silently closed his eyes. Kidnapped, huh? Chapter 300. High up in the sky, clouds and mist were drifting gently. A gentle breeze was blowing gently. The azure sky was like an ocean hanging in the sky, rippling with faint waves. Many people knew that this place was not completely devoid of life. In the endless sky, a ripple suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The ripple quickly expanded and dispersed all the clouds and mist around it. Then, the ripple turned into a giant magic formation. The magic formation flashed and an airship suddenly appeared from the magic formation. It was flying at an extremely fast speed towards the distance. There, a gigantic building the size of a city was located below the airship. We're here. Spalier World Academy. On the deck of the airship, a young girl with tea-colored hair pointed her finger at the city-sized building below and shouted excitedly. As the tea-haired girl spoke, the people standing behind her, who seemed to be her companions, could not help but feel their spirits lift. They took a few steps forward and looked down. When they saw the gigantic building, all of them put on smiles. One of the girls with long pink hair couldn't help but wipe the sweat on her forehead. She said with a bit of relief, "We're finally here. If we didn't make it, I would have collapsed." Hearing this, the girl with tea-colored hair was stunned for a moment. Then she lowered her hand and laughed. "Oh right, I almost forgot, you have acrophobia." The girl with pink hair's face stiffened and she forced a smile. "Since you already know, don't say it out loud." The girl with tea-colored hair looked at the girl with pink hair in confusion and asked, "That's strange, didn't you already take the antidote? Why do I feel like you're still a bit scared?" The girl with pink hair wanted to cry but no tears came out. She complained, "But, the antidote is about to wear off." The tea-haired girl could not help but laugh. She only hurriedly stopped after receiving a fierce glare from the pink-haired girl. Seeing this, the pink-haired girl snorted and looked down at the building that was getting closer and closer. She spoke with some anticipation. "I wonder how Fei-Fei and Lulu are doing. Is Liren doing well there?" At this moment, the only male in the group finally reacted. He was holding a cute little girl in his arms. He walked to the front of the girls and looked down at the Spalier World Academy. The corners of his mouth slowly curled up. Spalier World Academy, I, Wu Yan, am here. Yes, the people on the airship are Wu Yan, Hinajaku, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandrachan, Astria, Shokuhu Misaki, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku, who returned from the world of magic. Is that the Super Spalier World Academy? Kinohada Sayai looked down at the buildings that looked more like a city than an academy and gasped in surprise. It's so big compared to Academy City. Shokuhu Misaki covered her mouth and giggled. She looked down at the Spalier World Academy with interest. An academy the size of Academy City? Interesting, much more interesting than Tokuwadai. Frenda tugged at her beret as if she could not accept it, and shouted exaggeratedly, but in the end, are all the academies in the other world this big? Who knew? Wu Yan shook his head in response to Frenda's question, denying her fantasy. No, there is only one academy in the entire Spalier world. The Spalier World Academy was established by the three empires of the Spalier world, Ailu, Baruba, and Fea empires. Its size is not something the academy in your mind can compare to. I see, there is only one academy in the entire world? Shokuhu Misaki smiled happily. No wonder it's so big. Flandrachan, who was in Wu Yan's arms, stretched her neck and looked down at the Spalier World Academy. She pulled on Wu Yan's clothes and said hopefully, Oni-chan, that building is so big, is it fun? Wu Yan laughed and he poked Flandrachan's nose. Flandrachan, that place isn't a fun place. But, for you, Flandrachan, it's not that bad. The Spalier World Academy is the only academy in the entire Spalier world. One can only imagine how big it is. In such a large academy, geniuses from Ailu, Baruba, Fea, and even the Spalier world will gather here. Geniuses from all over the world. One can only imagine what kind of place the Spalier World Academy is. It must be a place with countless geniuses, countless competitions, and countless strong fighters. To be honest, those without strength or potential wouldn't be able to stay in such an academy. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it's hell for the weak and heaven for the strong. Fortunately, this is just an academy and not an arena. Otherwise, with so many geniuses from all over the world gathered here, those without strength would have died a long time ago. Of course, this has nothing to do with Wu Yan's group. Because among Wu Yan's group of 10, the weakest is rank 6. And Flandrachan, the strongest of them all, was at the 9th stage. Wu Yan's, it's not that bad for Flandrachan, is the truth. For a rank 9 Flandrachan, the Spalier World Academy is just a place for her to play. At least, Wu Yan didn't know from Feifei and Lulu that anyone in the Spalier World Academy can reach rank 9. Of course, those in their 70s and 80s are an exception. In the Spalier World Academy, as long as one is over 25 years old, those with the ability will graduate and those without will be expelled. It can be said that it's a very cruel system. In the Spalier World Academy, those who are over 25 years old can only stay in the academy as teachers. Even the weakest teachers are rank 7. Some of the outstanding talents among the teachers were even at the 8th level. As for the Spalier World Academy, the only ones who can reach rank 9 are the 12 members of the Spalier World Academy's board of directors. In other words, Flandrachan is at least in the top 13 of the Spalier World Academy. Don't think that being in the top 13 means you're weak. The Spalier World Academy is a joint venture of 3 empires. Therefore, the board of directors consists of the strongest from the Ailu, Baruba, and Fea empires. Among them, Wu Yan knows Feifei and Lulu's family, the former head of the Lori family, Lulu's grandfather. At the same time, there are also the strongest from the second and third family of the Ailu Empire. The strongest from the first, second, and third families of the other 2 empires are members of the board of directors. There are also the 3 emperors of the 3 empires. At the same time, they are the 3 deans of the Spalier World Academy. They are the rulers of the board of directors. To put it bluntly, if the Spalier World Academy were to be considered a faction, it would be the strongest faction in the Spalier world. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it's a joint venture of 3 empires. The only academy in the Spalier world, the joint venture of 3 empires. It's the most terrifying organization in the entire continent. That's why it's named after this world, the Spalier world. Unfortunately, the Academy's name means that it's a huge organization that can't participate in the Spalier world. However, if one could become an outstanding talent in this Academy, then one would have the chance to meet the top powerhouses in this world other than the 5 demigod powerhouses. Chapter 301. Speaking of which, the reason Wu Yan's group came to the Spalier World Academy was thanks to Lulu and Feifei. Lulu and Feifei invited Wu Yan to the Spalier World Academy when they went to the Spalier World Academy. After all, Wu Yan was older than Lulu, but just like Feifei, he wasn't 25 years old yet. As long as you're not 25 years old yet, you can become a student of this super academy as long as you have some strength. Even if you're just rank 1, or level 1 according to the system, you can still come. However, whether or not one could stay in this super academy with its terrifying competition would depend on one's perseverance and potential. At the very least, in this gathering place where geniuses roamed freely, those without a bit of ability wouldn't dare to enter. Because you're afraid of losing face. Of course, there are some thick-skinned people who can stay in the Spalier World Academy until they're 25 years old. However, whether or not they can pass the graduation exam depends on their ability. If they can't, they'll be laughed at no matter how thick-skinned they are. All of this has nothing to do with Wu Yan's group. At least, with their current strength, they can at least do well in the Spalier World Academy, even if they can't be at the forefront. It's been a few days since they returned to the Spalier world. Although Wu Yan's group stayed in the Spalier World Academy for quite some time, with the time ratio of 1:100, Wu Yan's group has only been away for a little more than a day. Not long after they returned, Wu Yan decided to come to the Spalier World Academy. To be honest, Wu Yan is very interested in this academy that Feifei and Lulu have praised to the heavens. For the people of the Spalier world, this is a place filled with geniuses and powerhouses. However, for Wu Yan, this isn't important. What's important is geniuses are equal to experience. Powerhouses are equal to experience. Other people see this place as a gathering place for geniuses and powerhouses, but for Wu Yan, it's just a gathering place for experience points. So, what other place can attract Wu Yan more than the Spalier World Academy? Of course, other than that damned behemoth forest and those super powerful magical beasts in the deepest part of the forest. As the hover ship slowly descended, the Spalier World Academy got closer and closer to Wu Yan's group. Only when they got closer did Wu Yan's group realize how big this academy is. After the hover ship descended for some distance, Wu Yan's group could no longer see the inside of the building. After a while, even the walls of the academy blocked their line of sight. The floating plaza of the Spalier World Academy is not far from the academy's entrance. Therefore, when the hover ship landed, everyone who got off the hover ship immediately saw the tall entrance of the academy. Wu Yan's group wasn't the only one who came to the Spalier World Academy. Wu Yan's group wasn't the only one who came to the hover ship. A lot of people came. Among them, if they weren't students of the academy, they were here to enroll in the academy, or they had other objectives. Therefore, as more and more people arrived, more and more people came to receive them. The floating plaza was packed with people. However, when Wu Yan's group got off the hover ship, the plaza, which was as noisy as a market, suddenly quieted down. Men and women, old and young, all of them were stunned as they watched Wu Yan's group get off the hover ship. Their eyes flickered with the same intense expression. That is, amazement. Beautiful. Too beautiful. Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flanderchan, Shokuhu Misaki, Astria, Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. A total of 9 girls of different ages, but without exception, all of them have a face that could bring disaster to a country. What kind of scene would it be when there were as many as 9 beauties who could bring calamity to a country and its people gathered together? The people in the floating plaza can tell you this. If you don't know, please turn the channel to here. As for the fact that Wu Yan is a third wheel among the group of beautiful girls, they automatically ignored it. The people who came to the Spalier World Academy are geniuses from all corners of the Spalier world. Among them, there are some scions from big families, and of course, some of them are scum. Many of them are pale, they are obviously young masters who overindulged in debauchery. Their eyes are shining brightly as they look at Chuju's group. Conceited in their strength, wealth, and background, these young master soldiers already had sinister smiles on their faces. Under the protection of their guards, they started walking towards Wu Yan and company. As a result, a scene like this appeared on the floating plaza. A group of arrogant young masters brought their guards to surround Wu Yan's group. Those who are from weaker families and know their place quietly retreated to the back when they saw this. Wu Yan's group is now completely empty. Some of the scions from big families who aren't weaker than these young masters frowned and coldly watched this scene unfold. However, they didn't show any intention of stopping them. Of course, there are also some who want to save the damsel in distress, or those who can't stand it anymore. They want to stop these scum when they pass by them. However, none of these people had such a thought. That is, these seemingly weak and easy to bully beautiful girls are people they can't afford to offend. But this is natural. After all, which scion from big families doesn't come with a group of guards? Wu Yan's group only has 10 people. Among these 10 people, 90% are women, and there are even children. Of course, no one would think that such a group is the type of people they can't afford to offend. Looking at the friendly faces that surrounded him, but if one were to look closely, one would notice that there is something fishy about them. Wu Yan frowned and a murderous aura flashed through his wine-red eyes. After all, in a situation like this, as long as one isn't an idiot, one can see why these people are coming over. His wine-red eyes turned slightly, a faint golden light flashed through them. Wu Yan smiled faintly and said softly, "Tired of living?" At this time, a soft and boneless hand gently touched Wu Yan's hand. When Wu Yan turned around, Shokuhu Misaki smiled at him and said, "Let me do it." Wu Yan was stunned for a moment, then he shook his head with a smile. He nodded at Shokuhu Misaki and then looked at the scum who are coming over. But this time, there's no killing intent in his eyes, only pity. Shokuhu Misaki smiled faintly, and the expressions of the young masters around her relaxed. They almost couldn't hold back the evil thoughts in their hearts, and they were all screaming in their hearts. "She's mine," but what they didn't know is that this will be the last thought of some of them. An invisible wave came out of Shokuhu Misaki's hand, which was holding a remote control, and spread towards those young masters. A portion of the young masters and their bodyguards had a drastic change in expression. One after another, they ignited their fighting aura or magic power. Some protected themselves while others protected their masters. A portion of them were completely unable to react to what was happening and were struck by the formless ripples. The nauseating look in their eyes completely faded away, and they became demented. Every single one of them had become idiots. When the invisible wave disappeared, there were already a lot of people on the floating plaza. It was at this time that fear crept into their hearts. When they finally reacted, Wu Yan and his group were already heading towards the academy gate. Only a faint voice echoed in their minds. "This is just a warning." Chapter 302. This. Aren't you being too harsh on them? Mikoto saw the young master soldiers lying on the ground. With Mikoto's strength and her understanding of Shokuhu Misaki, how could she not know what happened to those people? It's a good thing she's been traveling with Wu Yan for quite some time. If it was the old Mikoto, she would have jumped out and reprimanded Shokuhu Misaki instead of just asking a simple question. Shokuhu Misaki smiled faintly and glanced at Mikoto. "If you were like me and had the ability to see through people's minds, you wouldn't think so." Wu Yan frowned at Shokuhu Misaki's words, but it quickly smoothed out. "Looks like those bastards have done quite a lot of bad things." Shokuhu Misaki chuckled and nodded. Mikoto didn't say anything since the look in Shokuhu Misaki's eyes made her uncomfortable. The group of 10 arrived at the entrance of the Spalier World Academy. Looking at the huge door, they didn't know what to do. Chuju looked around and said speechlessly, "I don't see any small doors or guards and the door is sealed so tightly. How are we supposed to get in?" Wu Yan rubbed his chin and suddenly said, "Oh right, I think I heard Lulu Feifei said that to enter the Spalier World Academy, we need to go through some kind of ceremony." Ceremony? The girls couldn't help but ask. Kinohada Sai even stretched her neck and looked around the entrance. What kind of ceremony is this to enter the academy? I've never heard of something like this before. Kinohada Sai's voice stopped abruptly and her eyes lit up. She pointed at the door and shouted, "Look at what that is." Everyone immediately looked in the direction of the sound. After a moment of careful observation, everyone finally discovered that there was a small platform in the middle of the door. Could it be some kind of ceremony? Hey, I haven't even finished my sentence and you guys are already super leaving. Super rude. Super wait for me. As Wu Yan's group walked towards the entrance of the Spalier World Academy, the passers-by stopped and looked at Wu Yan's group. They gathered in groups of 2s and 3s as they pointed at Wu Yan and company. Most of them were even whispering to each other. Wu Yan could vaguely hear them whispering among themselves. Are they going to the ceremony platform? Are they here to enter the academy? Let's go take a look. Thus, everyone gathered together and headed towards Wu Yan and company. They wanted to watch the show unfold in front of their eyes. Wu Yan's group looked at the small platform in front of them and pondered. Of course, Flandre-chan was completely curious and didn't know if she understood the current situation or not. On the small platform right below the entrance of the Spalier World Academy, there are 3 small grooves with the words, potential, and strength, written on top of the grooves. Other than that, it's just an ordinary platform. The 10 of them couldn't help but look at each other in confusion. At this moment, a voice sounded behind Wu Yan's group. Are you guys here to enter the academy? Wu Yan and Ko flinched and they quickly turned their heads around. They saw a white-haired man with a steady and powerful face. Without looking at his head of white hair, he looked like he's in his 40s. His gaze swept over Wu Yan's group. When he saw Chuju, Mikoto, and other beautiful girls, his face flashed with surprise but it disappeared in less than a second. Wu Yan, who has been observing the middle-aged man, took in all the changes in his expression. Seeing the middle-aged man's reaction, his wine-red eyes couldn't help but reveal a trace of satisfaction. His impression of the middle-aged man also increased by quite a bit. You are? The middle-aged man slightly lowered his head when he heard Wu Yan's question. He looked at Wu Yan's group and said, I'm the person in charge of the entrance of the Spalier World Academy. If you're an outsider, just call me manager. Person in charge of the entrance? Shokuho Misaki tapped her lips and said, in other words, you're the guard. That's one of my jobs. The person in charge of the entrance, who is also the manager, said. He swept his gaze over Wu Yan's group. At the same time, it's also my job to receive visitors, returning students, and new students. Wu Yan finally realized what was going on. He was wondering why the gate was closed so tightly. Judging from the number of people he saw at the floating plaza, there should be quite a lot of people coming to Silveria World Institute every day. Yet, the gate was closed more tightly than the gate of a vault. He did hear from Feifei and Lulu that entering the Spalier World Academy requires some sort of ceremony. But what kind of ceremony is this? It can't be that even visitors have to go through it. Looks like there's some other way to get in. Other than the dumb Astria and Flandre-chan who can't think, the girls here are all smart girls. That's why they had the same thought as Wu Yan when the manager said that. The manager turned around and ignored the noisy crowd behind him. He asked Wu Yan's group as if nothing happened. So, please tell me, are you here to enroll? Wu Yan smiled and gently placed Flandre-chan on the ground. He comforted the dissatisfied Flandre-chan and said to the manager. That's right, we are here to enroll. As if he already guessed Wu Yan's words, the manager nodded his head with a calm expression. From this, it can be seen that this manager is already numb to the fact that he's receiving new students. In that case, Allow me to explain to you the necessary procedures to enroll into the academy. The manager walked past Wu Yan's group to the small platform and pointed at it. This is the special platform created by the Spalier World Academy. I'm sure you've seen it before. There are 2 slots on it, one is the potential slot and the other is the strength slot. Just like what the name says, the potential slot is used to test the potential of the students and the strength slot is used to test the strength of the students. Test potential and strength? Wu Yan and the other girls exchanged glances before they looked at the manager with a suspicious look. I heard that as long as the students aren't powerless, they can enter the Spalier World Academy even if they just entered stage 1. Why would they need to test their strength and potential? The manager chuckled when he heard Wu Yan's words. This is the first time Wu Yan's group saw a change in the manager's expression. Indeed, as long as the students aren't powerless, they can be satisfied. The manager looked at the small platform and changed his tone when Wu Yan's group was confused. However, this doesn't mean that potential and strength aren't important in the Spalier World Academy. On the contrary, in this environment, these 2 things are the most important. The manager explained, in the Spalier World Academy, the students are divided into 3 levels: ordinary students, elite students, and special students. The levels are based on the potential and strength tested by the platform. Every student has to go through a test on the platform to determine their level. The manager then pointed at the Spalier World Academy's gate behind him. This gate is specially set up for the new students. Only the newcomers whose potential and strength are tested for the first time can open this gate. Chapter 303. The manager's explanation left Wu Yan and the others speechless. They stared at the cliff-like gate, speechless for a moment. They had guessed that the entrance to the Spalier World Academy wasn't limited to this sealed gate. There should be another entrance for visitors. However, no one would have thought that such an imposing door was actually set up just for the new students. This is really extravagant. The manager looked at Wu Yan and the others. Even though he didn't look happy since the beginning, he couldn't help but feel proud. This is for the Spalier World Academy. Normal students, as long as they aren't powerless, can become a normal student of the Spalier World Academy. The academy will give them a white uniform that represents a normal student. Elite students, on the other hand, are those who have the absolute advantage among the other students. Only then can they become elite students. At this time, the academy will issue them a white uniform with blue edges that represents elite students. As for special students, the manager glanced at Wu Yan and the others. If you want to become a special student, you have to be super strong. Otherwise, no matter how good you are, you can only be an elite student. Once you become a special student, the academy will give you a white uniform with gold edges. The manager clapped his hands to attract the attention of Wu Yan and company. He continued. Of course, this is only in terms of strength. The ranking of the students is based not only on strength but also on potential. As long as the ritual platform judges that you have the potential to become a special student, then even if you are a normal person, the academy will still issue you a golden-edged uniform. However, there are less than 100 people in the Spalier World Academy who can become a special student based on their potential alone. Less than 100 people. Wu Yan fell silent. He lowered his head and pondered. The Spalier World Academy is the only academy on the continent. There are at least 10 million students, if not 100 million. Out of 10 million, only 100 people can become a special student based on their potential alone? Wu Yan raised his head and he looked at the manager in the eye. How many special students are there in this academy? The manager paused for a moment before replying, less than 1,000 people. Wu Yan narrowed his eyes. Less than 1,000 people. Does that mean the number of special students is only 1 in 10,000? Interesting, Wu Yan said subconsciously. What surprised him was that Shokuhu Misaki also said the same thing. She flashed a charming smile at the stunned Wu Yan. It almost shocked Wu Yan to death. Shokuhu Misaki smiled and stroked her long blonde hair. She looked at the ceremony platform, her eyes sparkled with excitement, which made Wu Yan feel a chill. Wu Yan is sure that Jusama has thought of something fun. Wu Yan observed a moment of silence for his future classmates. He decided to stay away from Jusama for the time being. He doesn't want to get caught in the crossfire. The manager walked to the side and made a please gesture towards the ceremony platform. He said to Wu Yan and the others, then, please come forward and take the test. Place your hand on the trough and it will emit a light representing your student rank according to your strength. White is a normal student. Blue is an elite student. Gold is a special student. After the ceremony, I will distribute the uniforms to everyone on the spot. Finally, everyone's student rank will be determined by the higher side. That is to say, even if your strength is at the level of an ordinary student after the test, as long as your potential test emits a blue light, then you will be classified as an elite student. After saying that, the manager went silent. Like a puppet, he lost all expression and vigor. He stood there in a daze, waiting for Wu Yan and the others to take the test. At this time, the onlookers started to make a ruckus. They looked at Wu Yan and the others with scrutinizing eyes. They seemed to care about the student ranks of Wu Yan and the others. Among them, the Spalier World Academy students are the most suspicious. Have to say, some of them came here with bad intentions. After all, as long as the super beautiful girls in front of them are slightly weaker, they can use some tricks to achieve their goals. Wu Yan shrugged and looked at the girls. He smiled and said, who wants to go first? Flanderchan, who was tugging on Wu Yan's clothes, jumped up and down in front of Wu Yan. She jumped up and down while yelling excitedly. Brother, brother. Let Flan go first. Let Flan go first. Seeing the lively and cute Flanderchan jumping and shouting with a smile, Wu Yan and the others couldn't help but smile. This little elf is so cute. Even the onlookers were dazed by Flanderchan's appearance. Some of them even started to pant. They had a look of cuteness on their faces. Rubbing Flanderchan's head, Wu Yan smiled and said, then let Flanderchan go first. Flanderchan's face lit up with joy as she cheered and ran towards the platform. She reached out her hand to touch the groove on the platform. But very quickly, Flanderchan lowered her head dejectedly. The reason is simple, her height is her weakness. This time, Wu Yan and the others were really amused. Have to say, this scene is too funny. Brother, Flanderchan looked at Wu Yan like she's about to cry. Wu Yan couldn't help but laugh and shake his head. He walked up and picked her up. Flanderchan smiled again. She reached out and placed her hand on the groove for strength. The platform didn't move at all. Forget normal white light, there's not even a speck of light. This means that the person taking the test has zero strength. Many of the onlookers started to laugh. Of course, it's a good thing that the person taking the test is a child. It's normal that she doesn't have any strength. If it was Wu Yan, he would have been laughed out loud by now. Flanderchan pursed her lips in boredom. She doesn't seem to care about her strength at all. She then turned around and touched the groove for potential. Bang! Almost as soon as he touched it, the entire ritual platform shook violently. Then, under everyone's stunned eyes, a glaring golden light suddenly rose from the ritual platform. The indifferent manager was finally shocked. Looking at the dazzling golden light, the manager cried out involuntarily, "Golden light! Special student!" Many of the people who still had smiles on their faces froze as they stared at the dazzling golden light in a daze. Their minds had already gone blank, zero strength and potential, but she's a special student. How is this possible? Everyone looked at Flanderchan with awe, especially those who were originally Spalier World Academy students. They know that this little girl is going to become the star of the Spalier World Academy. That's because there are less than 100 students in the entire Silveria World Institute with special potential. No one knows better than them what it means to be a special student with special potential. No one knows better than them what kind of status a special student has in the Spalier World Academy. To put it bluntly, as long as Flanderchan is willing, even if her companions like Wu Yan and the others are just normal students, they will still have a good life in the Spalier World Academy. Of course, that is if Wu Yan and the others are normal students. Chapter 304. Under the dazzling golden light, Flanderchan is undoubtedly the center of attention. Everyone is looking up to her, including the manager. It was only after the golden light dimmed that the crowd came to their senses. But this time, they didn't make a ruckus because they were subconsciously afraid of disturbing Flanderchan. The students of the Spalier World Academy took a good look at Flanderchan, especially her looks. They memorized her in their minds. A special student is very important to them in the Spalier World Academy. They are still waiting to report back to the academy. As for those who aren't students, many of them are also taking a good look at Flanderchan. Some of them with background have already ordered their subordinates to investigate Flanderchan. A special student with potential will definitely grow into a super powerhouse in the future. Rank 7 is a given, rank 8 is not something they can only look up to. Rank 9 is also a possibility, even if the chances are slim. If they don't try to rope in such a talent, they would be letting their ancestors down. Of course, they don't know that Flanderchan isn't just a talent, she's a true powerhouse. Oh. It's glowing. It's glowing. Flanderchan didn't realize at all that she had suddenly become the center of attention. Everyone else treated Jin Guang as a rare treasure, but Flanderchan only treated him as a toy. She clapped her little hands and smiled happily. Wu Yan bitterly smiled as he rubbed Flanderchan's ponytail. He looked at the manager with a smile on his face. It's quite amusing to see this guy who was as calm as a transcendent being acting like an idiot from start to finish. As for Flanderchan's golden light, Wu Yan didn't care about it at all. Even if her powers are sealed, her foundation is still there. What's so surprising about a Tier 9 being chosen as a special student? This level of strength was enough to directly become a member of the Council of Silveria World Institute. The administrator finally recovered from his shock and quickly lowered his head. He spoke to Flanderchan in a gentle voice. Miss, the result of the test is that she is a special student. She will become a special student of the Spalier World Academy. Then, she took out a white uniform with golden edges from somewhere. The style is unique and it's a bit feminine. At least from Wu Yan and Ko's point of view, it's not bad, it's not inferior to those pretty decorations. The administrator brought the uniform to Flanderchan with both hands. His eyes were still a little dazed. It's no wonder the administrator reacted this way. He's never seen a golden light that represents a special student before in his life. Normally, new students who come to the Spalier World Academy for the first time will be tested as normal students. The better ones will be elite students, but that's still very rare. The special students of the Spalier World Academy started off weak and climbed up the ranks. They started off as elite students, and the better ones were still normal students. They worked hard to become strong before they took the test again and became a special student. As for the less than 100 students with high potential, they were either descendants of the major clans or teachers of the academy. They were super geniuses that were dug out from the vast world of Silveria. They weren't people that a mere gatekeeper like him could come into contact with, let alone help them with the ritual test. That's why this is the first time he's seen the birth of a special student. Flanderchan couldn't care less about the manager's thoughts. In the past, this kind of person would only be treated as a toy. Flanderchan would only break them. Therefore, the clothes actually piqued Flanderchan's interest. Flanderchan touched the white uniform with golden edges and chuckled. She didn't care about the consequences, she grabbed it and hugged it. Then, she looked at Wu Yan. Big bro, it's so fun. That black table might not be fun, but I'll get something if I play with it. Big bro, let me play with it again. Flanderchan stretched her hand towards the platform again. Wu Yan quickly grabbed her hand and smiled bitterly. Flanderchan, if it's not fun, then don't play with it. Flanderchan wiggled her petite body and glanced at the platform. She snorted and turned her head away. Then, she turned her attention back to the special trainee uniform. Child. Wu Yan chuckled and shook his head. He looked around. Everyone is still shocked by the news of Flanderchan becoming a special student. They've forgotten about Wu Yan and the others. Pursing his lips, Wu Yan pressed his hand on the strength groove while the others are still in shock. A familiar golden light once again rose from the ritual platform, causing those who were still in shock to tremble and become completely dumbfounded. Special student. The manager swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said these words with difficulty. His heart, which was not considered old to begin with, was already showing signs of insufficiency at this moment. It's rare to see a special student. The Spalier World Academy has over 10 million students, but there are only less than 1,000 of them. Today, there are 2 special students in front of him. At this moment, the manager started to wonder if he was dreaming. Another special student. The onlookers are in a daze. 90% of them have been to the Spalier World Academy many times, but this is the first time they felt like they made the right decision to come here. Of course, this includes the students who came out to pick up their friends and family. Wu Yan and the girls looked at each other and shook their heads. They found it funny, but at the same time, they looked down on the people of this world for not being receptive enough. Wu Yan, Hinajaku, and Mikoto have experienced this kind of scene many times. Becoming the center of attention, receiving the shocked and stunned gazes of the audience. Every time, they would feel like these side characters can't do something different. And this kind of thinking, without a doubt, is very cold. The girls looked at the dumbfounded faces of the people around them, then they looked at each other. Other than Ikaros, everyone had a naughty smile on their faces. Even Astria had the same expression on her face. They took a few steps forward and lined up in a line. Then, one by one, they took turns and reached out their hands to the platform. But there was no result. Mikoto, strength gauge, golden light, potential gauge, golden light. Chuju, strength gauge, golden light, potential gauge, golden light. Ikaros, strength gauge, golden light, potential gauge, golden light. Shokuhu Misaki, strength gauge, golden light, potential gauge, golden light. Astria, strength gauge, golden light, potential gauge, golden light. Kinuhada Sayai, strength gauge, blue light, potential gauge, golden light. Frenda, strength gauge, blue light, potential gauge, golden light. Takitsubu Riku, strength gauge, blue light, potential gauge, golden light. Including Wu Yan, who also got a golden light in both his strength and potential, Flandre-chan and Wu Yan, who also got a golden light in both their strength and potential gauges. Dumbfounded was no longer enough to describe the expressions on everyone's faces. If one had to use a word to describe their current expressions, then perhaps the word twisted would be more appropriate. What did they just see? They saw the birth of 10 special students. That golden light that was enough to break through the sky had completely smashed their brains. Regardless of whether they were originally stupid or astute, they were completely dumbfounded. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, Flandre-chan, Shokuhu Misaki, Astria, Kinuhada Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubu Riku. All 10 of them became special students. Today is destined to be an unforgettable day for them. Chapter 305. The status of the special students in Silveria World Institute and how they are judged is unknown to outsiders. Only the big families with strong backgrounds would know a thing or two about this. To put it bluntly, when you're still proud of your unrivaled strength, come to the Spalier World Academy. You'll be beaten black and blue here. It wasn't easy to judge his potential, so let's not talk about it first. However, the judgment of his strength couldn't be clearer. In the Spalier World Academy, there are less than 1,000 special students. Except for less than 100 who have potential, the rest are all at the 7th stage. 7th stage, there's no lack of 7th stage fighters in this world. Even though 7th stage fighters are rare, they're only considered rare when compared to the huge population of the Spalier world. For those large clans, as long as they were able to stand on the stage, which one of them did not have a tier 7 powerhouse? But if you think 7th stage is weak because of this, you're wrong. In the eyes of the strong, 7th stage might be weak, but it depends on what they're compared to. Don't forget, the students in the Spalier World Academy are all under 25 years old. 7th stage isn't scary, but reaching 7th stage before the age of 25 is scary. This can be seen from Feifei. Without a doubt, Feifei is a special student. At the same time, in the Spalier World Academy, in a villa with fake mountains, streams, and green willows, Feifei is holding her night elf and looking at something carefully. Only Feifei knows that she's not looking at the blade. Feifei. Feifei. Following two delicate shouts, the door of the villa was knocked open by a figure. The figure didn't slow down at all as it rushed in Feifei's direction. That figure is Lulu. Feifei is stunned. Even though Lulu is sometimes impulsive, Feifei has never seen Lulu do something like this. Feifei quickly dodged to the side. Lulu fell to the ground and cried out in pain. Feifei's eyebrows twitched. She sighed and sheathed her night elf. She bitterly smiled. Lulu, what are you doing? Lulu rubbed her breasts. While rubbing her breasts, she laughed in pain. With Lulu's speed just now, if she had fallen to the ground, they would have been the ones suffering. Hearing Feifei's words, Lulu rubbed her little head, looking a little distressed. Feifei couldn't help but sigh. This child, could it be that she didn't remember why she was so anxious? Feifei was worried that Lulu might have hit her head instead of her breasts when Lulu's eyes lit up. She jumped up from the ground and gave Feifei a fright. Before Feifei could say anything, Lulu grabbed Feifei's hand and shouted excitedly. Feifei. It's Yen. Yen and the others are here. Hearing this, Feifei was stunned for a moment, then she smiled. Is that so? They're finally here. Feifei frowned. She looked at Lulu, who was in high spirits, and shook her head. Even if Wu Yen and the others are here, you don't have to be so anxious. Lulu was stunned, but the excitement in her eyes didn't diminish. Feifei, you don't know. Yen is famous in the Spalier World Academy. Famous? Feifei was stunned. Her eyes flashed with surprise. It's not because of anything else but the word famous. It's not easy to be famous in the Spalier World Academy. What's going on? Tell me. Lulu swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty. Ever since she received the news, she had been jumping up and down and running non-stop. Now that she was here, she was so excited that she could not help but feel her mouth go dry, and she pounced on him. Even when she was explaining to Feifei, Lulu was still full of excitement. She described the test at the entrance of the Spalier World Academy as more exciting than a haunted house. Feifei was stunned. Feifei now knows that Lulu has the same talent. After Lulu finished, Feifei fell silent. 10 special students, yeah. Lulu grabbed Feifei's hand and swung it back and forth. Feifei felt like her bones were about to fall apart. I really don't know how Yen managed to recruit so many powerful companions. I really want to meet them. Hearing this, Feifei shook her head with a smile and said, it seems that we really have to meet. Lulu immediately shouted excitedly when she heard Feifei's words. Okay. Let's go now. Right away. Let's go. Feifei stared blankly at Lulu running away. She didn't know when Lulu became so impatient. She also didn't know when a magus could be so fast. Feifei couldn't help but smile bitterly. She tightened her grip on the night elf and frowned. Feifei sighed and muttered. This is going to be troublesome. Yes, troublesome. This is the reason why Feifei wanted to meet Wu Yen. Special students, and 10 of them at once. This will not only cause a stir in the Silveria World Institute, it also means that they will be targeted by the Silveria World Institute. Feifei, who is also a special student, knows this very well. If she wasn't from the Lori family, Feifei and Lulu wouldn't be able to live a peaceful life as students. Feifei knows how much the factions in the academy want to have a special student, not to mention, there were 10 of them. I have to hurry. Feifei's eyes turned serious. She pushed open the door that was closed by Lulu and rushed towards Lulu's direction. At the same time, in the Spalier World Academy, there are a few places that aren't peaceful. The Spalier World Academy is the only academy in the Spalier world. It's also a joint venture between the 3 empires. The geniuses gathered from all over the world won't get along so well. Not to mention the competition between the top clans in the three empires, there are also some big and small clans that have grudges against each other. With so many factions gathered in one place, how can they get along peacefully? Among them, there were even some who were his sworn enemies. In addition, some of these people would be the successors of their respective forces in the future. In such an academy, there were so many geniuses, including those without forces and those with small forces. Wouldn't it be too stupid if they didn't rope them in? Therefore, the Spalier World Academy can be said to be a microcosm of the rivalry between the clans. They don't want the geniuses to fall into the hands of their enemies, or they want to pull them over to their side. The geniuses in the academy suddenly became a hot commodity. Among them, the most eye-catching ones are the special students who are at the top of the student body. Now that 10 special students have appeared, this force is enough to change the entire situation of the Spalier World Academy. Therefore, when the news of the 10 special students reached the ears of the big shots, these factions are in an uproar. At the same time, almost identical orders are passed down from one faction to another. They must pull these 10 special students to their side. If they can't pull them over, they must not let the enemy pull them over. When necessary, they are allowed to use special methods. Fei Fei had predicted that something like this would happen. That's why she felt that there was trouble. Chapter 306. In the Spalier World Academy, there is a so-called hierarchy system. The higher the level, the more privileges one has. This is especially true for the special students. And now, Wu Yan and his group are enjoying the first privilege of a special student, a villa of their own. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a villa. One had to know that such a place could even fit 100 people, let alone one. And a villa like this, a special student gets one per person. But this kind of privilege is like a bolt from the blue for Wu Yan. Because this meant that he couldn't live with the girls anymore. When this fact flashed through his mind, Wu Yan couldn't react in time. When he did, Wu Yan immediately turned to the person in charge of arranging their accommodations. There's no need to go through so much trouble to arrange so many accommodations. A villa or whatever, one is enough. There are 10 of us, we can definitely live in it. Chuju, Mikoto, and the rest were embarrassed by Wu Yan's words. Even though they used to live together, but saying it so clearly in front of outsiders, isn't it indirectly telling them that they are related? Before Chuju and Mikoto could say anything, Shokuhu Misaki suddenly turned to Wu Yan and smiled. Era, I didn't say I want to live with you. Wu Yan's face stiffened. He forced a smile at the smiling Shokuhu Misaki and said helplessly. Queen Sama, what do you want now? Shokuhu Misaki ran her fingers through her hair and winked at Wu Yan. She said slyly. Mimi, oh, this queen, really needs to be taught a lesson. Wu Yan's mouth kept twitching. If there weren't outsiders here, Wu Yan would have pressed her down and beat her up. Shokuhu Misaki acted like she didn't see Wu Yan's expression. She turned to Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and to Kitsubu Riku. You girls, do you want to come with me? Wu Yan's expression changed. If he wanted to beat Jusama up a while ago, now he wants to F***ck Jusama up. She actually dared to F***ck her own husband. Kinohada Sayai, Frenda, and to Kitsubu Riku looked at each other. They didn't know what to do. Shokuhu Misaki saw this and smiled faintly. Could it be that you want to? Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yan's direction and pouted. Live together? Kinohada Sayai and Frenda shuddered. Shokuhu Misaki's words reminded them of the time when they lived with Wu Yan in Academy City. What kind of fate did they end up in? Recalling the day they were raped, the two women were alarmed. They were already F***ked before they were raped. Now that they were F***ked, if they lived together with him, wouldn't that be? Thus, the two women came to a decision. They nodded furiously under Wu Yan's stunned gaze. They looked at Shokuhu Misaki with gratitude. After all, she was the one who saved them from the sea of fire. With such thoughts in mind, Kinohita Sayai and Frenda have long forgotten who was the one behind that embarrassing threesome. Seeing that Kinohita Sayai and Frenda agreed, Takitsubo Riku sneaked a glance at Wu Yen. Under the gazes of Kinohita Sayai and Frenda, she could only nod helplessly. Shokuhu Misaki smiled triumphantly and turned to Astria. "Hey, Astria-chan, aren't you coming with us?" "Oi oi oi, Jusama, that's enough." Wu Yen finally couldn't hold it in anymore. His eyes were glowing dangerously. Shokuhu Misaki didn't doubt that if given the chance, Wu Yen would *CK her again and again. This time, it was Astria's turn to be at a loss. She made a series of sounds like she didn't understand why the fire would burn her. Seeing this, Shokuhu Misaki decided to make the final push. Astria's eyes lit up and she nodded without hesitation. "I have a lot of delicious food here." Wu Yen was stunned. He watched as Astria, Kinohita Sayai, Frenda, and Takitsubo Riku walked to Shokuhu Misaki's side. Wu Yen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I say Jusama, what are you trying to do?" Well, Wu Yen, don't worry, you'll find out soon enough." Shokuhu Misaki smiled mysteriously and poked Wu Yen's cheek. "Oh, right." Shokuhu Misaki suddenly reached out and took off the black bracelet on Wu Yan's wrist. "It's the biocontainment device that stored the sisters." Shokuhu Misaki waved it at Wu Yan's face. "I'm taking this too." Wu Yen was stunned. Before he could react, Mikoto jumped out and shouted. "You woman, why are you taking the sisters away?" Misaka-san, there's no need to rush." Shokuhu Misaki didn't even look at Mikoto as she put the biocontainment device on her wrist. She touched the black bracelet on her wrist and smiled. "Since Misaka-san doesn't have any plans for them, just leave it to me." "Do you think I'll harm them?" Mikoto's face turned red. She stomped her feet and said in exasperation. "You! Don't tell me you want the sisters to appear in this academy? That's 20,000 identical little sisters." Shokuhu Misaki ignored Mikoto's words and giggled. "I said there's no need to rush." Shokuhu Misaki looked at Wu Yen, Hinajuku, and Mikoto. She giggled and swung her long hair, showing the back of her head to everyone. "I'll give you guys a big surprise." After that, Shokuhu Misaki led Kinohita Sayai, Frenda, Takitsubo Riku, and Astria away under the guidance of the person in charge. Wu Yen, Chuju, and Mikoto looked at each other. After a while, Mikoto spoke up. "That woman must be up to something again." Mikoto knows Shokuhu Misaki well. After all, she's been harmed by her in the past. Wu Yen sighed. He knew that Jusama's thoughts are unfathomable, but he still felt helpless. He could only observe a moment of silence for those who are going to be harmed by Jusama's. None. Chuju, on the other hand, was worried. "Is it okay to let them leave just like that? What if something were to happen?" "You don't have to worry about that." Wu Yen patted his face as he watched Shokuhu Misaki and the others leave. "It doesn't matter who gets the short end of the stick, Jusama won't get the short end of the stick." Mikoto harumphed. "I hope she gets the short end of the stick. That woman really thinks she has everyone under her control." Wu Yen and Chuju laughed dryly. They could feel the deep resentment in Mikoto's words. They fell silent. Scratching his head, Wu Yen smiled at Chuju and Mikoto. "Hey, Mikoto, Chuju, don't tell me you're thinking of moving out to live on your own?" Chuju and Mikoto blushed and glared at Wu Yen. They wanted to say something, but Wu Yen had already turned to Ikaros. "Ikaros, don't tell me you're going to live on your own too." Ikaros flinched, shyness flashed in her eyes, but she still insisted. "Ikaros, I'm going with Master," Wu Yen chuckled. Flander-chan also raised her hand and she yelled. "Me too. Me too. Flan wants to live with Oni-chan too." Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other and nodded helplessly. To be honest, they're a little reluctant to part with Wu Yen as well. Mikoto snorted and turned her head away. "I just want to be with Ikaros and Flan," she said with a bit of embarrassment. Yes, Wu Yen giggled. Mikoto couldn't help but feel a bit annoyed, and Hinajuku felt helpless again. Chapter 307. Entering the villa, the person in charge arranged for them. Wu Yan, Hinajuku, and Mikoto exchanged glances before sighing helplessly. Chuju said softly, "Why do I feel like it's getting a little cold?" Indeed, the original team of 10 is now down to 5 people. Wu Yan, Hinajuku, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flandre-chan are the only ones left. The others, who are already used to this kind of situation, are feeling a little uncomfortable. It's all that damn woman's fault. Mikoto didn't hesitate to push all the blame onto Jusama. It's fine if you're up to no good, but you actually dragged everyone away. You even took my sisters away. How despicable. Hearing Mikoto's complaints, Wu Yan and Hinajuku rubbed their temples. They aren't worried about Jusama getting the short end of the stick, but Jusama's mysterious actions are still giving them a headache. Next time, they'll have to ask Jusama what she's up to. After making up his mind, Wu Yan let go of the worries in his heart and started sizing up this huge villa. Don't say, this villa is pretty big. At least, it's much bigger than his house in Academy City. Flandre-chan giggled and jumped down from Wu Yan's lap. She started jumping around the mansion like a happy little bird, running around the living room. Even though this place is a lot smaller than Scarlet Devil Mansion, Flandre-chan is still running around tirelessly, rummaging through the rooms one by one like she's on an adventure. Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto, who were feeling a little cold at first, smiled when they saw Flandre-chan like this. The strange feeling in their heart also disappeared. Gotta admit, Flandre-chan has a special kind of charm. Could it be that she's the apple of Scarlet Devil Mansion's eye? Wu Yan quickly shouted when he saw Flandre-chan running deeper into the mansion. Flandre-chan, don't run too fast, be careful not to fall. Got it. Oni-chan. Flandre-chan's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. She ran into the villa and went on her so-called adventure. Shaking his head helplessly, Wu Yan was about to follow her when Ikaros suddenly tugged on Wu Yan's clothes and handed a booklet to him. Master, what's this? Wu Yan asked as he took the booklet from Ikaros. Ikaros pointed at a table nearby. I found it on that table. What is it? Chuju and Mikoto also gathered around Wu Yan. The three of them looked at the booklet in Wu Yan's hand. A few big words printed on the cover answered the questions in Wu Yan and everyone's mind. Entrance Guide? Spalier World Academy. Even though it has the word academy in it, there are no classrooms or anything like that for students to gather and study together. In the academy, students have their own free time. If they want to do sex, they can do it. If they want to play, if they want to play, if they want to play, if they want to stay in their rooms and sleep, no one will pay attention to them. Basically, Spalier World Academy only has a few restrictions. First, private fights are not allowed in the academy. If there's something that needs to be settled by force, then it can only be settled in the arena. Second, death is not allowed in the academy. If there's a murderer, the law enforcement team has the right to deal with him on the spot. If there's something that makes both sides unable to tolerate each other's existence, then they can only submit an application for a duel to the death. If the application is approved, then the duel will be allowed. Third, students above the age of 25 are not allowed in the academy. Once a student is over 25, they must take a graduation test. If they pass, they can graduate. If they don't, they will be expelled. These 3 rules are basically the school rules of Silveria World Institute. As long as the students of Spalier World Academy follow these 3 rules, they can do whatever they want in the academy. No one will pay attention to them. Of course, Spalier World Academy is still an academy. There are many powerful teachers in the academy, but if you want these teachers to teach you, you have to pay enough credits. In Spalier World Academy, there are auctions, shops, trading areas and other facilities for the students to use. Here, there are resources from all over the Spalier world. Whether it's potions that can increase one's do chi or mana, treasures of heaven and earth, or armaments that can directly increase one's strength, battle skills and magic, they can all be found here. As long as you have credits. It's worth mentioning that in Spalier World Academy, the currency is not gold but credits. It can be said that as long as you have credits, in this academy that has the support of 3 empires and resources from all over the world, there's basically nothing you can't find. Of course, if you want a legendary armament, then I'm sorry, those old farts in the council all want it. If you have one, they will definitely give you a shocking amount of credits to exchange for it. Well, that's basically the case. If you want a legendary armament, then I'm sorry, those old farts in the council all want it. However, it doesn't mean that there won't be any gold armaments. In other words, other than the things that even 9th stage powerhouses coveted, there was everything here. This was the correct way to put it. However, if you wanted to obtain them, it was still the same as before. As long as you had the credits. Then, how do you get the most important credits? There are many ways. You can use armaments, battle skills, magic, treasures of heaven and earth to exchange for them. As long as you have the resources, those shops and auctions in Spalier World Academy will give you credits. If you don't have these things, then it's fine. As long as you have the strength, you can get credits all the same. The arena. Rather than the arena, it's better to call it the arena tower. Because, its body is a tower. The arena tower has a total of 9 floors. Each floor is made up of countless arenas. Here, you can settle your personal grudges and also use it as a source of credits. In the Tower of Tournament, you can gamble your points. You can challenge others to a duel or place bets on the duels. These are all ways to earn points. You can even challenge teachers to a duel. Teachers also need points. They have points in their hands. As long as you can win, you can win. Not only that, every floor of the arena tower has a floor master arranged by the academy. As long as you can defeat the floor master, you can get a large amount of credits and move up to the next floor. As long as you can defeat all the floor masters on the 9th floor and conquer the arena tower, the credits you will get will be enough to last you for the rest of your life. Of course, no one has been able to do it yet. Because, as the floors increase, the strength of the floor masters will also increase. Currently, the strongest students are on the 6th floor. One can only imagine how strong the floor masters on the upper floors of the arena tower are. Other than the arena tower, there is another very important existence in Spalier World Academy. The ranking. To put it bluntly, the ranking is a list. However, it's not an ordinary list. There are only 100 spots on this list. Those who can get on it are the strongest 100 students in Spalier World Academy. Out of 10 million students, only 100 of them were able to make it to the top. From this, one could easily imagine how valuable the ranking was. It was even more valuable than the slots for the special students. As long as one was ranked, one would be able to obtain credits every month. The higher one's ranking was, the more credits one would be able to obtain. Chapter 308. When Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto finished reading the guidebook, there was a deafening sound that no one else could hear except for Wu Yan and the others. Beep. Detected a special item, issuing a sudden mission. Sudden mission, conquer the Tower of Tournament. Mission, challenge the Spalier World Academy's Tower of Tournament and defeat each floor's leader. Mission rewards, Floor 1, Equipment and Item Points 10,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 5,000. Floor 2, Equipment and Item Points 20,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 10,000. Floor 3, Equipment and Item Points 30,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 15,000. Floor 4, Equipment and Item Points 40,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 20,000. Floor 5, Equipment and Item Points 100,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 25,000. Floor 6, Equipment and Item Points 200,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 30,000. Floor 7, Equipment and Item Points 300,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 35,000. Floor 8, Equipment and Item Points 500,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 40,000. Floor 9, Equipment and Item Points 1,000,000, Ability Points and Summoning Points 50,000. Note, this mission is only valid for the user. Sudden mission, fight for the ranking. Mission, challenge the people on the Spalier World Academy's ranking and fight for the ranking. Mission rewards, top 100, equipment and item points 10,000, ability points and summoning points 5,000, top 90 to 20,000 equipment points and item points, 10,000 ability points and summoning points. Top 80 to 30,000 equipment points and item points, 15,000 ability points and summoning points. Top 70 to 40,000 equipment points and item points, 20,000 ability points and summoning points. Top 60, equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 25,000. Top 50, equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 30,000. Top 40, equipment and item points 70,000, ability points and summoning points 35,000. Top 30, equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 40,000. Top 20, equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 45,000. Top 10, equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 50,000. Third place. Equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 60,000. Second place. Equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 70,000. First place. Equipment points, item points, ability points, summoning points, 80,000. Note, this mission is only valid for the user. 2 missions. However, the rewards for these 2 missions were ridiculously generous. This sudden mission announcement went on for a full 5 minutes. Wu Yan listened to the system announcement for 5 minutes. When the system announcement faded away, Wu Yan looked at the mission on the system projection in front of him and couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. Other things aside, let's talk about the mission rewards first. The rewards for these 2 missions were only points. However, those points almost made Wu Yan think that his eyes were playing tricks on him. Conquer the Tower of Tournament. If this mission was completed, Wu Yan would receive 2 million equipment points and item points, 230,000 ability points and summoning points. Fight for a ranking. If this mission was completed, he would receive 55 million equipment points and item points, 440,000 ability points and summoning points. If he could complete both of the missions, thinking of this, Wu Yan smiled bitterly. There were so many students in the entire academy and in the end, they only managed to conquer the 6th floor of the Tower of Tournament. As for the rest, from the huge amount of points rewards, it was easy to see how difficult it was to pass. As for the ranking, Wu Yan planned to collect as many points as he could. However, this mission is only valid for the user label made Wu Yan's heart ache a little. Looking at the mission on the projection, Wu Yan's face was a mixture of joy and worry, red and black. His expression changed so much that Chuju and Mikoto looked at each other. Noticing the 2 girls' expressions, Wu Yan was stunned. He asked in surprise, "You heard the system announcement too?" Hearing this, Hanajuku and Mikoto nodded, making him speechless. He doesn't know what's going on with the system, that the proper quests are given to the group and that the improper quests are given to him. Don't tell me the system thinks for me or something. The 2 girls looked at each other and then looked at Wu Yan helplessly. "Yan, it seems like we can't help you this time." Wu Yan was almost in tears. It seems like he can only rely on himself this time. At this moment, an excited shout came from the villa's main entrance. Wu Yan, Mikoto, and Hanajuku, who were in the living room, jumped in fright. They turned their heads to look and were stunned by what they saw. Lulu. Maybe it was because the main door wasn't closed, or maybe it was because Lulu didn't care if there was a door or not. Anyway, when Wu Yan and the rest saw Lulu, she had already rushed into the main hall. Wu Yan, Chuju and Mikoto were stunned. They looked at Lulu, who suddenly rushed in. They couldn't react. Is there a need to be so excited? When they saw Lulu's clothes, they were stunned again. There was no other reason but because Lulu was wearing a white student uniform with golden edges. A special student. Lulu is also a special student. After regaining his senses, Wu Yan quickly opened the system and looked at Lulu's body. Meililu? Loli, level 44, the same level as the last time they met. This is to be expected. After all, Wu Yan and the rest spent a few months in the magic forbidden realm. Only a little more than a day has passed here. In addition, Wu Yan and the rest have only been in the Spalier World Academy for a few days. Of course, a few days won't be enough to increase their strength by much. What really surprised Wu Yan and the rest is that with Lulu's level, she shouldn't be a special student. After all, Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda and Takitsubu Riku are already tier 6 but they only got blue light while Lulu is only tier 5. Then, there's only one explanation as to why Lulu is a special student. Lulu became a special student by relying on her potential. She's one of the less than 100 special students with potential. Seeing Lulu rushing in, Wu Yan couldn't help but sigh. As expected of the precious daughter of the Lori family, the pride of the heavens, one must know that Flanderchan became a special student because she's already a tier 9 fighter. As for Kinuhata Sayai, Frenda and Takitsubu Riku, it's because they became his summons. After becoming his summons, their potential is limitless. After all, as long as there's a fight, there's experience to be gained and their strength will increase. Potential and whatnot can't be used to measure a summon's potential. Lulu, on the other hand, relied on her own potential. At this moment, Wu Yan truly understood how much of a genius this half-natural girl is. This thought only flashed through his mind for a split second before Lulu arrived in front of him. Seeing this, Wu Yan quickly dodged to the side. And so, Lulu fell to the ground again. With a cry of surprise, Lulu fell straight to the ground in a straight line. After a "pa" sound, a painful howl resounded through the air. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, and even Feifei who just entered the room are all looking at Lulu who's crying out, so painful, on the ground. Their hearts are in a dilemma, should we help her up? Chapter 309. Ouch, Lulu slowly got up from the ground. She clutched her chest with one hand and took 2 deep breaths. It's as if she's afraid she'll flatten them if she falls. Wu Yan's already awkward expression turned even more awkward. Feifei, on the other hand, felt awkward. She even had the urge to just leave without a care in the world. After all, this is just too shameful. Wu Yan's mouth twitched. In the end, he dismissed the idea of helping Lulu up. He turned his head to the other side to cover it up. This time, Wu Yan felt awkward again. Chuju and Mikoto stared at Lulu's body. To be more precise, they were staring at Lulu's breasts. When they saw Lulu groaning in pain and rubbing her breasts, envy, jealousy, and hatred flashed across their eyes. It's as if they're hoping that if they fall on the ground, they'll have the ability to fall on the same spot. Wu Yan covered his eyes with his hand. He couldn't bear to watch anymore. On the other hand, Feifei did the same as Wu Yan. Their eyes met and they both smiled awkwardly. Feifei? Lori, level 69. Wu Yan was shocked when he saw the information in his system. He asked Feifei in surprise. Feifei, you leveled up? Leveled up? Feifei looked at Wu Yan in confusion. She then looked at herself in confusion. What leveled up? Wu Yan realized what he just said and he quickly waved his hand. No, I mean, Feifei, your strength. Feifei smiled and raised the night elf in her hand. You can tell? Wu Yan nodded. When Wu Yan nodded, Feifei smiled helplessly. After fighting with you last time, I gained some enlightenment and my strength increased a little. Originally, I wanted to hide it from you. Wu Yan scratched his head in embarrassment. If it wasn't for the system, he wouldn't have noticed Feifei's change. But Feifei looked at Wu Yan and stared at his wine-red eyes. Looks like you've changed a lot too. Wu Yan smiled awkwardly. He had no choice but to evade her gaze. After all, Wu Yan has never heard of the existence of vampires in the Spalier world. If he told Feifei that he became a vampire and that's why his eyes turned red, Feifei, she'd be confused. Hey hey hey, don't ignore me. Lulu screamed and got up from the ground. She said discontentedly, I fell down, and you guys are still chatting so happily. You're so annoying. Wu Yan and Fei Fei looked at each other helplessly and shrugged. This made Lulu even more dissatisfied. She turned around and ran towards Mikoto and Chuju. Mikoto. Chuju. Long time no see. Lulu, long time no see, Chuju and Mikoto said helplessly. They seemed to be exasperated by Lulu's behavior. Lulu, on the other hand, didn't seem to be aware of it. Her little head was looking around. Didn't you say there were 10 special students here? Why don't I see them? Hearing Lulu's words, Fei Fei remembered the reason she came here. Her face turned serious and she looked at Wu Yan. Yan, there's something. Before Fei Fei could finish, Lulu's scream interrupted Fei Fei's words. Fei Fei's serious face fell and a trace of anger crept up between her brows. It's telling everyone that Fei Fei is angry. However, when Fei Fei looked at Lulu, the anger on her brows disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by the same look of amazement on Lulu's face. The reason is Flandre-chan, who just ran out of the mansion. Lulu's eyes turned into stars. She looked at Flandre-chan with love in her eyes. After a while, Lulu screamed again in the silent living room. So cute. Following that, Lulu ran up to Flandre-chan with lightning speed and pulled her into her arms. She rubbed her head against Flandre-chan's scalp. You. Flandre-chan's limbs flailed around as she screamed in pain. Wu Yan couldn't help but cover his head with his hands. What kind of level did he have to be to make an undying vampire make such a sound? Lulu, let go of Flandre-chan. Hinajuku and Mikoto quickly came to Lulu's side and rescued the frightened Flandre-chan from her great bosom. If they were a step late, Flandre-chan would have already passed away. Don't be so stingy, let me hug you, it's not like anything will happen to you. Lulu looked at Flandre-chan with a burning gaze. Flandre-chan's face turned pale. Flandre-chan pounced on Wu Yan and buried her head in Wu Yan's chest. Big brother, she's so scary, Wu Yan laughed awkwardly. She can scare Flandre-chan to this extent and she still says she won't do anything. Lulu, so you're the hidden big boss here, helplessly shaking his head, Wu Yan looked at Fei Fei. He felt even more helpless when he saw her. I say, Fei Fei, do you want a hug as well? Fei Fei froze for a moment before quickly retracting her gaze from Flandre-chan and turning her head away in embarrassment. Lulu, Hinajuku, and Mikoto couldn't help but snicker in amusement. Fei Fei chuckled awkwardly before turning to Wu Yan. Yan, there's something, perhaps today is destined to be Fei Fei's day of suffering. Fei Fei was interrupted again, but this time it wasn't Lulu who interrupted Fei Fei. It was Ikaros who stood half a meter behind Wu Yan. Her indigo pupils turned crimson for a split second, then returned to normal after a split second. However, the flowing stream of data remained in Ikaros's pupils. Master. Ikaros lifted her emotionless face and looked at Wu Yan. Her voice was as soft as ever. There's an enemy. Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto couldn't help but blurt out. They didn't understand what was going on. Fei Fei, on the other hand, had a dark look on her face. She said helplessly. Looks like we won't make it in time. Wu Yan frowned at Fei Fei's words and turned to Fei Fei. Sister Fei Fei, by saying that, could it be that you know who this so-called enemy is? Fei Fei nodded but shook her head after some thought. Wu Yan, Chuju, and Mikoto were all confused. So does this mean you know or not? Chuju was speechless. Fei Fei, could it be? Lulu grabbed Fei Fei's hand, her face turned worried. Lulu, who's always been dumb, seems to have figured out who the enemy is. Wu Yan's frown deepened as he looked at Fei Fei and Lulu. What's going on? Fei Fei. Fei Fei pondered for a moment. To be honest, I don't know who it is either, but it's a fact that you guys are in trouble. Wu Yan lowered his head and sighed. He shrugged. Even though I knew the Spalier World Academy wouldn't be peaceful, I didn't expect it to come so soon. It's only been half an hour since we chose the villa, right? Fei Fei smiled bitterly. Half an hour is already considered late. You guys still don't know what kind of situation Spalier World Academy is in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so surprised. Fei looked at Wu Yan and said seriously. What do you plan to do? Yan. Wu Yan smiled faintly at Fei's words. Since it's someone Ikaros deemed as an enemy, it's definitely not friendly. Let's just kill it. Chapter 310. Walking out of the villa, there's a green avenue. On both sides of the avenue are the residences of the new special students. Compared to Wu Yan's villa, their residences are a bit more simple and crude. It seems like the person who arranged this villa knows that there's more than one special student living here. There's not a single shadow on the road. They probably haven't arrived yet since Ikaros's detection range is quite large. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, and Fei aren't in a hurry. Since the other party hasn't arrived yet, they'll just have to wait. About 4 to 5 minutes later, Wu Yan's group raised their heads and looked at the end of the road. There's a large group of people squeezing together. The sound of footsteps can be heard. They're walking towards them in a hurry. It's like they're being chased by someone. In front of them, the leader of the group seems to have noticed Wu Yan's group. He quickly waved his hand to stop the large group of people behind him. The leader of the group is a young man around 25 years old. He's wearing a white student uniform with gold edges, showing that he's a special student. Behind him, there are 8 other special students in the same uniform and a large number of elite students in white with blue edges. The leader of the group raised his head, and when he saw Fei, his eyes flashed with surprise. He seems to recognize Fei. When he saw Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flanderchan, his eyes flashed with shock, followed by a dirty look. Wu Yan, Chuju, Mikoto, and Fei saw that dirty look. Wu Yan narrowed his eyes while Chuju and Mikoto furrowed their brows. It seems like their impression of this group of people is extremely bad. Fei was stunned when she saw the young man in the lead. Then, she frowned. Bing Mian, it's you. The young man called Bing Mian moved his eyes away from the girls and looked at Fei. His eyes flickered as he sneered. I didn't expect the Lori family to be so fast. Fei's furrowed brows relaxed after hearing that. She glanced at Bing Mian and turned her head away. It's obvious that she doesn't care about this guy. Bing Mian's eyes flashed with ruthlessness when he saw Fei's reaction. It disappeared quickly, but Wu Yan still caught it. Bing Mian? Saito, level 64 tier 7? Wu Yan scanned the group of special students behind Bing Mian. Without exception, all 8 of them are tier 7. Bing Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flanderchan glanced at Hinajuku, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flanderchan before looking at Wu Yan. Bing Mikoto frowned as he became even more suspicious. Are they really special students? Why can't I sense a trace of Do Chi or mana? Could it be that they're all special students with potential? Bing Mian immediately denied this thought. According to the information he received, other than that little girl, the rest of them should be special students. Then, they must have cultivated a special technique to hide their Do Chi or mana. That should be it. Looks like they're quite rich, but I wonder if they have any background. Soon, Bing Mian frowned again. Didn't they say that there were 10 special students? Why are there only 5 of them? Wu Yan, who had a smile on his face, finally opened his mouth to speak. However, Bing Mian wasn't too pleased with Wu Yan's response. Wu Yan ignored the crowd that would surround and beat him to a pulp. He looked at Fei and he said, Fei, do you know him? Fei hesitated for a moment when she heard that, and then she nodded reluctantly. It was obvious how much Fei disliked this fellow called Bing Mian from this. He's the second young master of Saito family, the second young master of Ailu Empire's second family. His name is, second family? Wu Yan interrupted Fei. To be honest, the other party's name isn't something that can be hidden from the system's perception. Even without the system's perception, Wu Yan doesn't really want to know. He only cares about the other party's background. Fei Fei bitterly smiled and shook her head. Yeah, the second family. To put it simply, they're our Lori family's competitor. Many people have been eyeing the title of first family for a long time. Of course, the second family is the one who's eyeing it the most. Fei Fei paused for a moment before continuing in a troubled tone. Looks like we won't be able to resolve this peacefully. Fei Fei looked at Wu Yan with an apologetic look. Wu Yan smiled helplessly. I say, Fei Fei, if you think you're dragging us down, there's no need for that. Anyways, Wu Yan shook his head slightly as he looked at the ice surface in front of him. Even if they're going to resolve this peacefully, I don't think so. Wu Yan saw how Bing Mian looked at Chuju, Mikoto, Ikaros, and Flanderchan. That disgusting look is enough to make him hate Bing Mian. If Fei Fei, Chuju, and Mikoto are disgusted with Bing Mian, then Lulu's disgust towards Bing Mian is on the surface. Hey, you annoying bastard, what are you doing here? Bing Mian smiled, ignoring the disgust in Lulu's voice. Do I need to tell you why I'm here? Of course, it's these people. Bing Mian looked at Wu Yan and smiled. Hello, I'm the second son of the Saito family. I'm here to invite you all to my Sea of Icicles. Are you interested? Wu Yan looked at Fei Fei and Fei Fei immediately understood. There are many factions in the Spalier World Academy. They're all formed by capable students. Some of them are formed by large families. Sea of Icicles is a faction formed by the Saito family in the Spalier World Academy. This time, Wu Yan finally understood why people would come knocking on his door. Where there's power, there's bound to be conflict. Manpower, that's one of the most important factors. As if he didn't see Wu Yan and Fei Fei whispering, Bing Mian looked at Lulu and Fei Fei and said, however, it seems like Deadly Forest is a step ahead of us. Deadly Forest? Is that the Lori family's faction in the Spalier World Academy? Chapter 311. Bing Mian's face sank, Fei Fei and Lulu sighed in relief, and Wu Yan smiled. Wu Yan is very familiar with this voice. It had been a long time since they last met. Toros, the one who had picked a fight with Kiran because of Lulu, was now wearing the uniform of an elite student. His group was no less than the number of students from Sea of Icicles. Behind him were many elite students and 10 special students. Wu Yan smiled again, but this time it's a mocking smile. After all, Toth is only an elite student, yet he's leading 10 special students. It's obvious that he's just a fox using the tiger's might to intimidate others. Reality confirmed Wu Yan's thoughts. When the 10 special students saw Fei Fei and Lulu, they immediately abandoned Toth and stood behind Fei Fei and Lulu like loyal guards. Fei Fei nodded at them. It seems like the true leader of Deadly Forest is Fei Fei. It's you. Toth's face darkened when he saw Wu Yan. His eyes flashed with deep resentment. Toth won't forget Wu Yan's face even if he dies. When he saw Lulu and Fei Fei standing close to Wu Yan, Toth's gloomy face became even gloomier. He clenched his fists tightly, wishing he could kill Wu Yan. Unfortunately, the moment he thought of that, the scene of Wu Yan and Fei Fei's battle surfaced in his mind. It was like a bucket of cold water that extinguished his killing intent. Only coldness remained. Bing Mian also heard Toth's "It's you." He's almost certain that the newcomers are Fei Fei's acquaintances. That means they won't join him. Wu Yan smiled and wanted to speak, but he suddenly stopped. Ikaros' eyes flashed as she looked at Wu Yan. She didn't say anything either. Oh. I didn't expect Deadly Forest and Sea of Icicles to be here already. Are we too late? A handsome young man around 25 years old wearing a special student uniform came to the other side of the group. He smiled at Fei Fei and Bing Mian before looking at Wu Yan. Busy? Leaden, level 66. Fei Fei didn't know how many times she frowned. She sighed and said helplessly. I didn't expect him to come as well. Ailu Empire's third house, Leaden family's leader, the leader of the Crimson Land. Busy? Leaden. Wu Yan rubbed his chin with interest. This is going to be fun. Ailu Empire's 3 great houses are all here. Busy? Ledin chuckled. When he saw Hinajuku, Mikoto, and Ikaros, he was surprised. Ripples flashed in his eyes, and he nodded approvingly. I heard there are a lot of beautiful girls among the new special students. I didn't want to believe it at first, but after seeing you all, I have no choice but to believe it. They are indeed beautiful. Hinajuku and Mikoto flinched and they awkwardly nodded at Bishi. They waved their hands and turned their heads away. For the 2 girls, this isn't something they can get used to. After all, they're quite shy. Wu Yan found it funny. Bizi smiled. He didn't mind the 2 girls' reaction. He looked at Fei Fei and Bing Mian with his arms crossed. Since you 2 are here first, did anyone manage to invite the new students? If not, the Crimson Land will have to participate. This time, it was Bing Mian who laughed. Oh. Bizi, I think you're going to be disappointed. They are Fei Fei's acquaintances. We won't get a chance. Acquaintances? Bai Shi was stunned. He frowned and shrugged helplessly. Looks like we're late. We're late by quite a bit. Bizi turned to Wu Yan. I don't know. How should I address them? Wu Yan didn't say anything. His wine-red eyes scanned Bishi's figure. He looked at the other side of Bishi. Over there, another group of people appeared under the lead of a certain person. No. That's not all. There are people leading groups of people from all directions. It's obvious that they are from the Spalier World Academy. It's a sea of people. It's a real sea of people. Other than Wu Yan and the others who are standing in front of the villa is surrounded by people. Standing in front of these people were the few special students. However, the originally few special students seem to have formed a human wall at this moment. In front of the human wall, there are 4 men and 2 women. There are 6 young men and 2 young women leading the group. Looking at the 6 of them, Fei Fei had a serious expression on her face. She was already clenching the night elf in her hand tightly. They're all here. The smile on Bing Mian's face disappeared. He glanced at the leaders and his eyes flickered with uncertainty. Bizi's face darkened. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're right. We're only missing the royals, Fei Fei nodded solemnly. In their eyes, other than the 3 great royal families and the 9 great clans, the other forces were dispensable. Now, other than the 3 great royal families, the members of the 9 great clans were all present. Fei Fei glanced at Wu Yan. When she saw Wu Yan's calm expression, she was surprised. She didn't expect Wu Yan to be so calm in front of so many factions. Wu Yan looked calm on the surface, but inside, he was speechless. It's not because of the so-called factions, it's because of the number of people. Are these people really from the 9 factions? Isn't there a little too many of them? They're piling up to the point of death. At this time, Flanderchan frowned. Although she has sealed her power, she can still feel the faint malice in the air. This proves that there are some people with impure motives. She pulled Wu Yan's clothes and whispered. Big brother, these people are so annoying. Flanderchan wants to play with them until they break. Wu Yan chuckled and rubbed Flanderchan's head. Flanderchan, just watch quietly. These people don't deserve to play with you. Flanderchan unwillingly turned her head and calmed down. She seemed to have listened to Wu Yan's words. Chuju walked to Wu Yan and extended her hand to Flanderchan. Flanderchan, come to big sister. Big brother has something important to do. Flanderchan looked at Wu Yan and nodded obediently. This made Wu Yan surprised and happy. It seems like Flanderchan's spirit has stabilized a lot. She can even listen to other people's words. Fei Fei walked up to Wu Yan and hesitated for a moment. Yan, you know they're coming for you. What do you plan to do? Fei Fei stared at Wu Yan's face with her beautiful eyes. If you don't have a solution, why don't you join Deadly Forest? Wu Yan didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Fei Fei's serious tone. Of course, he knew why Fei Fei would use such a tone. Fei Fei probably didn't want him to think that she's coming for their special student status. How silly. However, Fei Fei's words could be considered as a plan. However, joining the deadly forest might not be a peaceful thing. Turning his head to look at Hughes, who is glaring at him with venomous eyes, Wu Yan grinned. Sister Fei Fei, don't worry about me. If I don't join them, it's not like I will get ganged up on. Fei Fei smiled bitterly. I'm not afraid of that. I'm just afraid that they'll use underhanded methods or force you into the arena tower. When that happens. Wu Yan chuckled. When that happens, I don't mind them giving me credits. I don't mind giving them a few slaps. Chapter 312. In the Spalier World Academy, academic credits are like gold coins. Although money isn't everything, you can't do anything without money. Originally, Wu Yan was worried about how to get some academic credits. At the very least, it would be enough to support him so that when he sees something he wants, he won't run out of academic credits to exchange for it. But now, if what Fei Fei said is true, these people will force him to go to the arena tower. Then, he can use this opportunity to gamble for academic credits and make a good profit. Under the system's perception, although the number of people here is terrifying, there are also a lot of 7th stage special students. But no matter what, they are only 7th stage. As long as they aren't 8th stage, Wu Yan isn't afraid of losing. As a true ancestor, even if he's only 7th stage, Wu Yan can stand firmly at the peak of 7th stage with the support of his unlimited vitality and recovery ability. So, as long as they aren't 8th stage, in front of him who can't die, these people are just giving him academic credits. Hearing Wu Yan's resolute words, Fei Fei was stunned for a moment. Then, she couldn't help but smile. She almost forgot that Wu Yan is someone who almost lost his life. Even if Wu Yan can't, there's still. Fei Fei glanced at Mikoto and Ikaros. Her serious face relaxed. She just remembered that Mikoto and Ikaros are 8th stage powerhouses. 2 8th stage powerhouses. Even if the people in front of her are Wu Yan's enemies, so what? With Mikoto and Ikaros here, these 7th stage special students won't be able to touch them. Thinking until here, Fei Fei smiled and took a step back. Since you already have an idea, I won't force you. If you need help, just say the word. Although Deadly Forest isn't as powerful as so many factions, it's not a place that can be touched by just anyone. That's right. Lulu, who has been hiding behind Fei Fei, also spoke up. She patted her chest and said, Yen, don't worry. If they bully you, Fei Fei will definitely stand up for you. Yes. Wu Yan replied helplessly. For some reason, he felt that Lulu has a mysterious power that can make a person who is full of energy lose all his strength. As expected, Lulu is the real boss. At this moment, Bing Mian glanced at the sea of people. He rolled his eyes slightly and suddenly laughed. Ice raised his hand and shouted at the leaders of the Baruba Empire and Fea Empire, everyone, I'm sure you have the same goal as us. You want these newbies to join us, right? Bing Mian laughed loudly when he saw everyone's expression. But you're fated to come here in vain. Lethal Forest is one step ahead of us. The crowd burst into an uproar, especially the leaders of the 6 great clans. Their eyes darkened as they stared at Fei Fei and the people from Deadly Forest. The malice they showed was self-evident. Seeing this, Bishi looked at Bing Mian with disdain. But he had to admit that Bing Mian was really good at this move. This Bing Mian must think that the newcomers won't join his sea of icicles. That's why he said this. He's trying to divert the attention of the major factions towards Lethal Forest. If Lethal Forest doesn't give everyone an explanation, they won't have an easy time. Fei Fei's expression changed completely. She looked at Bing Mian with anger in her eyes. She bitterly laughed in her heart. Bing Mian is setting a trap for me, either I give up on the newcomers or I become the target of all the major factions. But give up on Wu Yan? Is that even possible? Fei Fei was once again in a dilemma. Lulu was starting to get anxious. Tobias was happy. He walked towards Feifei and tried to persuade her. Senior Feifei, the situation isn't good for us. There's no need to sacrifice lethal forest for a few newcomers. Let's just let them have it. Feifei coldly glanced at Toros. Toros didn't dare to speak anymore. At this time, the people from the 6 major powers began to move. It seems like they were getting impatient from waiting. Bing Mian smiled as if his plan had succeeded. He smiled at Feifei and said, Miss Feifei, I think it's better for everyone to be friendly. You also know that there are a lot of new students this time. It's easy for things to change. So, our best plan is to divide them up. This way, we can have the best of both worlds, don't you think so? Feifei was angry. When she wanted to say something, Wu Yan laughed. His laughter was very happy. It was very strange. Although his voice was soft, it rang in everyone's ears. Everyone quieted down. Wu Yan slowly raised his hand and crossed it in front of his chest. He looked at Bing Mian and smiled. Divide? You said divide? How come I don't know that we've fallen to the point where we have to be divided? Bing Mian's eyes turned cold, but his smile didn't change. However, it became a little cold. At the same time, he sneered. Newcomer, you don't know what's good for you. You might be strong outside the Spalier World Academy and no one could discipline you. However, this isn't the countryside where you used to be. If you want to be rude and unreasonable, you should know your place. Wu Yan glanced at Bing Mian indifferently. Then, he walked towards Bing Mian. Everyone was stunned. Was this newcomer going to start a fight? Quite a number of people laughed. They looked at Wu Yan like he's an idiot. Outside of the arena tower, fights are considered private fights. The enforcers are always keeping an eye on the fights. Feifei and Lulu's hearts were in their mouths. Bing Mian sneered as he watched Wu Yan walk towards him. He wanted to see if this newcomer had the guts to start a fight. However, the sneer on Bing Mian's face quickly froze. Even the people who were watching the show looked at Wu Yan in shock. They were speechless. Without even looking at Bing Mian, Wu Yan brushed past Bing Mian's figure, leaving Bing Mian with a big back view as he looked at the huge crowd in front of him. Ignored. Blatant disregard. Bing Mian's body trembled. His eyes were filled with killing intent. As the second young master of Ailu Empire's second house, he, Bing Mian, had never been treated like this before. Wu Yan sighed. Then, a clear and indifferent voice came out from his mouth and rang in everyone's ears. Everyone, I have no plans to join any faction at the moment. You don't have to worry about us breaking the balance between your factions. Wu Yan looked at the leaders of the 9 factions, including Feifei, Bishi, and Bing Mian. He continued. If you want us to join, it's not impossible, as long as... Wu Yan's lips curled into a sinister smile. His next word stunned everyone. As long as you can defeat me, I will join your faction. His words were like a clap of thunder that exploded in the crowd. Everyone was in an uproar. The leaders of the various forces all laughed. In their opinion, this newcomer really couldn't find an opponent outside. Therefore, he was a little arrogant and dared to say such words. However, this was exactly what they wanted. No matter what, a fight would not only dampen the other party's spirit, but they could also take him as their own. So why not? Yen! Feifei and Lulu shouted. Their eyes were filled with worry. Although they have seen Wu Yan's strength, Feifei and Lulu weren't too worried about Wu Yan's strength. After all, Wu Yan is also very strong. They know this, however, that would have to depend on the circumstances under which it would happen. It's not just one person, it's a group of people. You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.